Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
Yo.
Hello.
What's up?
What's going on?
Oh, not much.
Yeah, so we have a guest. I'm just letting people pour in here. We have two guests that will be with us for the first 10 or 15 minutes or so of the show to talk about a new business in the hobby called Trade Safe. And then after that, we'll get back to our normal routine. So today is March 4th. Welcome to The Crossover, and let me bring in one of our guests who's already sent a request. Thank you very much. You guys might be familiar with this guy. There he is. Is that Warren Spahn?
48 Leaf?
What's going on, bud?
Oh, it's so awesome to be on the cross. This is my second time joining you guys on here. It's been quite some time, but it's good to see you fellas. So thank you for having me, and I guess Steve will be joining us shortly.
Good to see you too, Steve. I saw you in the chat. Could you please? I'll send you a request if I can figure out how. Here we go. Steve, Jeremy, how was LA, buddy?
It was good. It was a whirlwind trip. I was there for under 48 hours. Just there for some on a little consulting gig that I was doing, and I did find a couple hours to go check out Burbank. I would have loved to have gone to Bullpen LA and check out Irving Monero's shop as well, but only had so much time, so I will check those out next time. Yeah, Chrissy, I'll try to read the comments, but that's going to be tough, man. I'm going to be trying to focus on the fellas here for 10 or 15 minutes. Aloud. He wants me to read them aloud.
Oh, Lord. Guys, don't do that to Jeremy. Let this man do his interview. So first of all, we're here to talk about the Trade Safe Hub. And first of all, let me just introduce it briefly in my own fashion before letting you guys just describe the business itself. But Jeremy is just an absolute stalwart of this hobby. He's one of the all-time great content creators. He's like the John Marantz of content. You know, he's been in the league for a few years, but man, he's got all the hype. So, Jeremy, it's great to have you. Steve, I had the pleasure of getting to know you on Clubhouse. You seem like a stand-up guy, man, and if you're in business with Jeremy, that says enough for me, buddy.
Thank you.
Welcome both you guys to The Crossover, and I'll leave it to one of the two of you to just kind of please explain what Trade Safe is.
Steve, I'll start because I think that some of the questions that you guys, Chris and Josh may have, I'll let Steve answer because Steve is the founder of Trade Safe. He brought me on board 10 months ago, and we've been working on this together along with the rest of the team since. Steve's been in it for over a year, and again, me for 10 months. So what it is really is it's a service where, we all have been in the position where we've tried to do trades with people we've met on any social media platform or marketplace, peer-to-peer platform or marketplace that doesn't have any controls. So we're always, you're looking for vouchers, you need a reputation, and even if you find a voucher, even if you have a reputation, you don't really know that you're going to receive the cards that you traded for. And that's an issue. Someone even put an Instagram story out the other day that was like, I had a vouch on the guy and I didn't get the cards. Like it's so hard to trade online. And that falls right into our wheelhouse because what we're offering is a middleman service. Trade Safe is basically a middleman service where two people who meet on any social media platform remotely, obviously not at a card show, you're right there, you're going to trade. We will receive both ends of the deal at one of our hubs. We have 3 hubs throughout the US, so easier to ship close by. And once we receive both ends of the deal, we will then verify, make sure that the other party is that we received what they're expecting. And then once everyone's verified, we will ship out the cards to the appropriate recipients, insured, packaged nicely, all that. So it's really just to make sure that it's pretty simple. Two people who don't know each other, maybe don't trust each other. We like to say I trust you, but let's use TradeSafe anyway. Like let's just take that extra step. Our fees are low, flat fee, $10 per side. You can do buy sells as well. If I want to sell you a card for $100, let's say, how TradeSafe handles the payment, we call it a peer-to-peer payment because we do not touch the money. Therefore, we're not involved in any 1099s, no tax reporting, nothing like that. But if you decide to sell someone a card for $100, we will then verify that the recipient. So if I'm going to sell you a card, Chris, I'm going to send my card to TradeSafe. Then you're going to send me money. Then I'm going to tell TradeSafe I received Chris's money. I verify it. I send you a screenshot of my PayPal, the wire transfer, my Venmo, Cash App, whatever it is. You send me that image. You send TradeSafe that image. We verify, and then we send you the card. We send your buyer the card. So you can never, if you use this service, you can never enter into a trade or a purchase online, send your money, and not get your card. And if the seller or the other side of the trade doesn't send TradeSafe the money or the card you're expecting, well, we're not going to release the card to them or the money. So we're going to hold it, then we're going to send it back to you. So you don't lose. It's like a no-lose situation. So that's what it is. And, sorry to keep on going here, Steve, and I'll stop in a second, but I've owned a hobby message board community called hobbyinsider.net for 10 years this year. It's 10 years this month, actually. And when I first acquired it, people were often asking me, because I was trusted, because I owned it, if I would middleman deals for them. So I knew when Steve approached me, and Steve found me through Sports Cards Live. And, he reached out, we had a Zoom call, and I'm like, dude, I love the idea because I've been asked to do this several times for free. And I've done the odd favor, right? I've done favors, but it's like the hobby needs something like this. So I was like, bro, I love it. And we've gotten to know each other better and better, built out the team. We've added pieces where we need them. And here we are with our beta launch. We wanted to launch an app, but we don't have investors. It's just us. So we did a soft beta launch with a website. We want to prove the concept. We want to get some business under our belts, and then we will develop an app. It's already like, and Steve, I'll let you jump in unless you guys have any questions, but that's all planned and kind of ready to go to a developer.
Yeah, well, Jeremy, the passion shines through, man. Thank you for breaking that down. Go ahead, Steve. Take it away, bud. What's going on?
I don't know if there's anything else to fill in. I mean, he said it all. But first and foremost, thank you to both you guys for having us on. So it's a pleasure. Obviously, Chris, I've gotten to know you through Clubhouse, and so it's nice to talk to Josh as well. And we were trying to figure out a way that we could trade cards plus the team for Josh, but we can't quite figure out what the equal balance is. But obviously, Josh, I mean, it's tough, right? I mean, you've done it. So, obviously for us, I think the easiest thing to do was to go into a beta, test it out, get all the kinks out. And really what we discovered by launching was, we could do this whole thing because we have 3 hubs in the US, one in Oregon, one in Florida, one in New Hampshire. So you don't have to pick the same hub. They're set up so that you can save money by, if you're in LA and you want to ship to Oregon, that's going to save you shipping money. But we thought, let's just test it. Let's launch the site. We have the hubs up and running. We have all the insurance, surveillance, and everything else. So we said, let's do it. Let's test the concept before we go to the next step. So, and so far, the response has been amazing. I mean, 1 week in, it's been absolutely, the hobby, I think, has come back to us and said, hey, this is a great idea.
Yeah,
congrats.
So thanks, Chris. I just want to add that, we've launched with a pretty simple website. It's got everything it needs for now. It's going to get better. I believe in continuous improvement with everything I do in my career. So we're always going to be getting better, just like Card Ladder is always getting better. We look up to you guys. We want to evolve, at that same sort of pace and just always improve the service and add things that are going to make the hobby just understand and realize that this is really beneficial and helpful. So, but we also wanted to launch sooner than later because, to be honest, we just think it's such a good idea that we want to make sure we had the first mover advantage, right? We didn't want to wait. Someone else doesn't know, right? Oh, crap. why didn't we launch faster? So we launched, and now we're open for business. And I couldn't be you mentioned the passion I have, and I appreciate that, Chris, because there's nothing that just makes me so proud and happy of our whole team, and the idea that we can help the hobby here, like my fellow hobbyists and collectors. We hope to save you headaches and heartaches and stress and all that stuff. So really happy about that.
That's terrific, man. So look, you've been in beta for like about a week or so. Has it been an overwhelming demand? Have you guys gotten any idea of kind of turnaround times? I mean, what can a collector expect if they send you a DM tomorrow or an email and say, hey, I've got a deal worked out and we'd like to use you guys? What's the process like from a practical point of view from that step?
Yeah. So
go ahead, Steve.
Sure. So basically, as soon as somebody says they got a deal and they go ahead and send us that trade agreement through orders at Trade Safe Hub, we basically we collect the payment. We instantly go in and give them a shipping label, and off they go. So that's basically the first step. After that, as soon as the cards, both parties, let's just say if it's a buy and sell and we receive the card, then we're going to verify payment. Just a good little note to add is every card that comes in here, all of our hubs are all partner owned. So, we're not in some warehouse somewhere, or everything's under surveillance. And with one thing we came up with, which we thought was a great idea, was as soon as we get ready to open up a package, we video record everything from the time we cut the seal and look at the invoice and look at the cards until we go ahead, pack it back up. So that whole process, believe it or not, in the workflow that we created, and Josh, you know this, right? If like we had a mobile app, it could just be snap a picture, use the APIs, cards are on their way. We can track all the shipping, and everybody has full transparency, and peer-to-peer payments are made. But literally within one business day, it takes to get the cards, do a simple transaction, put them back in the box, let the people know that everything is set, and off they go. So
put them back in a new box with nice packaging.
That's right.
I did see a question for turnaround time. It's going to depend. Like if two people agree on a deal, one guy gets us his end in 2 days, the other guy gets us his end in 10 days. Well, that's going to be a 10-day turnaround. We cannot. I mean, it goes against everything we're about. Ship out the cards without receiving both ends first. That's the whole core function that we're offering. So, but you're going to be able to, especially when we have the app is built out or will be built out, but it's planned to be built out so that you could log in anytime and see what the status is of your order or of your deal. As soon as we receive the other end, both ends, you're going to get a notification. Trade Safe Hub acknowledges we've received your end. Now the other guy will get one saying, please log in, verify that's what you ordered. You go in, you verify that's what you ordered. That lets us know that we can now send out side A. If side B does the same thing, now we can send out side B. They both match up. We ship out. We ship out fully insured. We have our own insurance coverage. So I saw a question go through asking about insurance. What if it gets lost? Well, if something gets lost to the hub, there's nothing we can do about that. I mean, that's a risk that does exist, but at least the other side of the deal doesn't have to pay the price. It's the sender that pays that price, unfortunately. But I don't know that we can sort of solve that. But what we definitely have solved, and I'll let Steve address that if I'm misspeaking at all, but we've definitely solved is from the hub to the recipient. That is covered by our insurance. We don't need to worry. We don't need to rely on the Postal Service insurance for that. But I'll ask Steve to supplement that because this is his specialty.
Yeah, so basically, as soon as you have the option of buying insurance on your package, up to $15,000. Our insurance right now in the beta covers us up to $20,000. So that's basically up to 20 cards each side. And so if you decide to insure your cards, or you don't, let's just say you don't want to insure your cards, then you're taking that risk on. But once we take possession of those cards, straight from the post office until we return them to the post office, they're completely insured. So we took on that cost because we wanted to obviously pass it on to the collector, right? No, we don't want to pass it on to the collector. We want to save them a little money. And the same goes with our fee too. Like some people said, geez, this is a no-brainer if you guys you know, if somebody wants to do a private sale on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and, you know, hey, I need a vouch. Well, now you can buy up to 20 cards or sell up to 20 cards. The fee is $10. So again, we want to put money back into collectors' pockets. It's, you know, if it takes us all of 3 to 5 minutes to verify everything, and then inspect, you know, we also, I think you guys would like to know this, we also do a very thorough inspection of the slabs as well. So that way, you know, we're looking for tampering. We're looking to make sure nothing is, you know, looks funny. And if we do notice it, we'll let the other party know before we proceed with that, you know, with the shipments.
That's terrific, guys. Hey, Josh, let me give you a chance to ask a question or two, bud.
Yeah, I was going to ask, who pays for the second shipment?
So the second shipment is done. They pay twice, essentially. So when they initially send their fee in for shipping, it's a double payment.
Oh,
so
I see. So they're buying 2 labels. They're buying 2 labels.
Yep, exactly. And it's at a discounted rate. And that was the other reason why we wanted to have the 3 hubs, so that we could save people money so they're not shipping all the way across the U.S. And it also will arrive to the hub a lot faster.
Yeah, the other question, Nick asked it already in the chat, but can we get these sales reported? Are these going to be like, are you guys going to log these sales?
So actually,
great question.
A great question. And I reached out to Chris and said, hey, Chris, do you mind if on the trade agreement, if I put card ladder on there, or, you know, data purposes such as card ladder? So yeah, I mean, this is a great thing, right? This is a trade agreement. It's, you know, it's a legal binding agreement between 2 parties. So absolutely. I mean, that falls right into card ladder's wheelhouse. And so we know that. And then, you know, I think obviously the future too would be cool as to, you know, how do you put some values on what was traded, right? So, you know, maybe we help Card Ladder become the Kelly Blue Book of sports cards, right? So now there's a perceived trade-in value of cards, which I think that data would be really cool to look at over time.
Yeah, man.
And just to add to that quickly, is that for the parties of the deal, the traders, the buy sellers, they would opt into that sharing of the data with Card Ladder because, you know, privacy concerns and all that, of course. And we know that Card Ladder has very rigid requirements for the information that you guys require in order to make a transaction part of your public data set. So we want to make sure that we're honoring your requirements and that our customers are aware that we would be sharing that with you if they are willing to opt in, which we hope they would, because it's just for the betterment of the hobby.
Hey, Jeremy, do you guys think you're going to have more volume of customers who are, because look, I'm in the middle of a transaction that's been underway for about a week, and it's going to be consummated next week. That involves, it's a super high-end deal, and the person who's selling me the card is flying in, and I'm going to be wiring them money. And so Christina's like giving me this evil eye because I'm using the I instead of the we. We are going to be wiring them the money, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, that's a very common situation, is like there's a deal happening, one party's sending cash, the other party is delivering the card. And I know you mentioned that that's a service as well. Do you have any idea of like how much of this service is going to be cash for card deals where you guys are an intermediary versus trades? Have you thought about that?
We have thought. We've talked about that a lot because at first the idea was just trades. And then as we evolved the idea and continued our discussions, it's like, no. We can handle peer-to-peer payment deals as well. Like, why wouldn't we? Why limit that, right? Chris, I think that's where we could explode. I think that's where we could literally explode. You know, there are other peer-to-peer platforms out there where 2 people might find each other and then say, but yeah, we should use TradeSafe instead because for various reasons, you know? So I think that could be a big deal. Another thing I want to mention is that we're not building a community. You know, we're not going to have, at least not yet, you know, down the road maybe, but we're keeping this simple. We want to focus in on what our core competency is. We want to perfect the process as best we can and just focus on that. So we're not building, some people have said, well, I'd love to be able to upload all my cards I have for trade. People would come and look for them. It's like I said to Steve earlier, I said, I don't think let's leverage all the other platforms and communities. We don't need our own. Let's leverage Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, among others. Funny enough, Chris and Josh, I had someone reach out to me on Instagram yesterday saying, hey, I saw your Gretzky OPG 7.5 on Card Ladder Showcase. Would you want to trade it? And I'm like,
there you go.
Card Ladder is another platform that transactions are going to come from. It's like someone tried to get one of my cards. So, which no deal. It's not for free, right? It's not available. But that's another place where we think we're going to be able to offer value to members, not of a trade safe community, but of the Card Ladder community, the YouTube community, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and more. So we also want to be able to be the back end. Like if someone is out there right now building a business and they're trying to build a marketplace, let's say, or something like that, but you don't want to get involved with the actual liability, the movement of the money, TradeSafe's a great option. Let us be your back end. Plug into us. We will support that. We have all that covered for you. So I think that's where we can see some additional growth down the road. And it's almost counterintuitive to say, well, we don't need a community, but I feel pretty strongly about that that's not our core competency. It just adds more headaches and stuff. So we will focus on the middleman service. It's similar to an escrow service, but it's not technically escrow because we're not taking a percentage of the value. We are just charging a fee. So we figure we're a middleman service. And the story of how we came up with the name, Steve, do you mind if I tell that story quickly?
I know you love to, so please share away.
And guys, kick us off as soon as you want to get on with the crossover. But so when Steve first approached me, he told me about the idea. I said, well, what's it called? He goes, Sports Card Exchange. And he showed me a logo, and I go, terrible. I go, listen, man, this whole thing is about allowing people to trade safely. Trade safe. There's the name. It's called Trade Safe. He's like, whoa, like epiphany. And that's what it's called because it's right in the name, So we're pretty excited. We're pretty excited and grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys coming on. I'm sure we'll talk to you guys again in the future. You guys are in a beta mode right now. So this is a great opportunity for early adopters to be influential in how this process unfolds and to be among the first people to be part of the Trade Safe service offering. It's a pretty special opportunity, and I look forward to using it myself in the near future. Thank you guys for coming on. We do have about 100 questions that we're going to try to answer tonight. So really appreciate you guys coming on, and best of luck. And I'm just proud of you guys, and congrats on the successful launch of this as well.
Thank you both. We really appreciate you having us, and great to see you guys as always. And to everyone out there, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you in the hobby.
Appreciate you. Check out. You're welcome. Check out Sports Cards Live tomorrow night as well on YouTube, guys.
And next Saturday. And special episode on Wednesday. Thanks, Chris.
Nice. All right.
And
see
Christina.
You guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
How do I get out of here now?
I think I can do it. There we go. Bye, Jeremy. All right.
So I'm definitely going to use that service. There's like at least 3 to 4 times a year where I'm like, do I really want to risk it? Like, I'm like 90% sure they made the post, the vouch post, and there's a couple that looks fine, but I'd rather just spend the $10.
Yeah, I agree. $10? What the fuck? That's nothing. Also, it's going to take me a minute to get used to this. My eyes are not adjusted to this 2-person view now, so this is going to take me a minute. It threw me off. Okay. TradeSafeHub.com. Please check it out. All right, let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming here. Do we have any mail days?
Yes.
Yeah, let's go with the mail days.
But I didn't get to show this one because I shipped it out to PSA before I could even get the opportunity. But I got PSA order back today or yesterday. Oh, shoot, the lighting's not as good as my office. But it's the 09 Topps Chrome LeBron Gold Refractor, and got the ever popular 7.5. One of the most commonly graded numbers, 7.5. It's it's basically the new PSA 9. And then I think I showed this one on the show, but it got a PSA 10. So thanks again to Mike for that. I don't know if he's happy for me or upset. It's like you gave me the card, and I got a 10. So that's I'll take good care of it, Mike.
Hell of a mail day. A PSA mail day, no less. Shout out to the good doctor, not a dentist, but a doctor.
Nice.
All right, I have one card to show off. I know I said I wasn't going to buy any more Le'Veon Bell, but never trust me when I'm saying I'm done buying stuff. 2013 Select Black 1 of 1 Le'Veon Bell rookie. Pretty card. It's a BJ.
Is that the true Select? Is that a true Select? Okay.
This is as true as it gets. This is his true rookie 1 of 1, like one of his best cards. So,
well, you dropped a little bit of a hint about like freaking someone flying out and wiring this. Like, what do we got coming here? It sounds like a big one.
I already have said too much, but let me say this: it's the biggest sports card transaction in me and Christina's career as collectors.
Hold on a second. Let me think.
No, okay. Don't do it, Josh. He already knows.
I know how much it cost. Well, I'm trying to figure out like how much you paid because I'm trying to think of your biggest.
What?
You told him?
What?
Oh, did she tell you?
You'll just have to select the right answer.
Wow, Christina. Wow. I was trying to keep it a secret from him. Look at you. Oh, man.
Can I make a deal? I message you like immediately with the picture. You somehow like to keep it a big secret.
I don't want to get chastised for buying bad cards.
I'm used to Josh chastising me for buying bad cards, so I have no problem telling him.
No, that one is definitely not a chastise. I like that one.
Yeah, I know, but that's why it would have been nice, because I knew you would like it, and so it would just be a big reveal. But lo and behold, Christina just spilling the beans.
Excuse me. You over here, sitting here like, oh, I have this deal coming. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Meanwhile, the money's coming out of my
Let me shine. Let me just portray myself as this.
Yeah, you're like, great product, Jeremy. Let me make this about me and my deal and how you can.
While you're here, Jeremy, can I tell you about this high-end deal I've got going?
All right, can I show some stuff on Card Loader?
Yes.
This will be quick, I think. Maybe not. So on the ladder, I don't know. I'm pretty sure you don't even know this, but we added save searches to the ladder, so you could actually, build out queries for things you want to study on the ladder itself, and you can save the searches just like Shop. And then you definitely don't know about this, but on the dashboard, if you go to the 90-day investments, the climbers and fallers, first of all, the UI is updated, but you can use those filters and apply them on your dashboard. So like, let's say you want to customize the top 90-day investments to like your own little filters. You can do that from your ladder save searches.
It's freaking cool, man.
You could have biggest fallers of your specific query. So like, you build a query about some subset or something. Instead of getting like the generic cards that we post that maybe don't interest you, you can customize it.
Damn, that's awesome.
Okay, so there's that. And then the big reveal this week is compare indexes, which to me is mostly like a content game. Like I think a lot of content creators are going to have fun with this one, and I'm interested to see what people do. You and I have like shown a couple fun ones, but like you just come in here and start picking indexes you want to compare. And the first thing I did was basketball, football, because that seems to have been a topic recently. And over the last year, football is up 90% and basketball is down 3%. I thought that was fascinating. You can do this with players, indexes, whatever you want to do. So I was comparing the Patrick Mahomes index to the Pokemon index, because how often does that come up in conversation?
Yes, everybody is wondering who's performed better over the last year, Patrick Mahomes or Pokemon as a category.
All right. The last one is collection. I don't like to show my collection here, so I'll just show you over here. We added a sort for player and year, so you can sort your collection. A lot of people wanted the player one because it's like you basically want to group them by player, so the sort kind of solves that.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
That's it.
That's a lot. God, that's a lot of features. The hits keep coming. Okay, well, Card Ladder. We had more questions about Card Ladder than ever this week. I told you there's 10 to 12, but that I was only going through, the first batch. We had like 15 questions about Card Ladder.
Let's space it out a little bit. We've been talking about companies for a while. Let's give the people...
Exactly. I push those towards the end. So
cool.
If we get to them, we get to them. If not, DM the Card Ladder account because there's somebody who just can't wait to reply to you. All right, let's go. Mad City Collector will lead things off. He says, if Ja Morant doesn't at least make the Western Finals, why would his market do any better than Trae Young or Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, should it? It shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
I think he should be. Well, I mean, the difference, though, is that, like, to answer that question more directly, like, Morant potentially has, like, he has a higher ceiling for, like, hobby love, given his style of play is a little bit more, like, above the rim and spectacular. Like, he might have more of a, Derrick Rose or early Westbrook type following than those other two guys. But, I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be the same as Trae Young. Trae Young had a big following, big collector base, and his stuff is dropping off, so.
Yeah, I mean, Marantz, let's use the compare feature for just a second here. I don't even need to show it. I'm just going to, let's just do, the most basic of comparisons. Like, Trae's Silver Prism PSA 10 is about a $780 card, and Marantz is a $2,100 card. So there's about a 3-to-1 multiplier for Marantz over Trae. And then, on the RPA side, it's even larger. Of course, the Marantz RPA is lower population.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in the last 3 months, Ja Morant's index is up 68%, and Trae Young is up 2%.
At least Trae Young is up. Luka and others are down over the last 3 months. So Marantz is kind of like having a Joe Burrow type of season for the NBA. Do you like that comp?
I do like the comp. It's almost like if we're just talking about just the card market, and I'll separate Morant, the player, for a second, it just seems like it's just like a total train of a hype fest. Like everyone wants to get on board, and some people aren't even sure why. To the point where now it's turning into, why are we talking about Ja Morant so much? What has he actually done? And it's yeah, what has he done? It's been 2 years, and he hasn't won a playoff series. So there's so much more to come for him to have to justify all this stuff. And there's now talk of is Burrow ever going to get back to a Super Bowl? And that's a realistic question because the AFC is absolutely fucking loaded. And the same for Morant. He's going to have to go through a bunch of really good teams, man.
Yeah, he is. I'd say the Western Conference in the NBA is more easily surmounted than the AFC in the NFL, honestly. So Morant had a 52-point game not long ago. How many other players this season do you think have scored 50 points or more in a game?
4 or 5?
7.
8. 8 other players have scored.
Unique games or players or both?
Players. So, actually, games. Each of these players has only done it once.
Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah, Curry, Durant, Jaylen Brown, Trae Young, who had 56, which is the highest scoring game of the season, Embiid, Tatum, Luka, and Giannis, in addition to Morant, have all had 50-point or more games this season.
Can I give you the positive spin on the overhype of Ja?
Yes, and I think there is positive spin. Yeah, I'd love to hear yours.
I think it's pretty simple. Zion is really letting us down, and Ja Morant is saving that draft class, and he's making it very exciting to collect cards for that year. I mean, it's very simple, Chris. We talk about this a lot on this show where and you and I have sort of shifted our mindset a little bit in that we're sort of rooting for these younger guys because every time those younger guys get excitement around them, first of all, it builds the draft class up, it builds the products up, and then it also builds up the other players that people want to relate them to. The legends, the GOATs and stuff. So it's all a very circular, like positive thing when there's excitement around a young player. It really, from the hobby's perspective, it's great.
I totally agree. And we also have that time-proven formula of if a player exceeds expectations, that's a recipe for hobby success. A player young in their career, and nobody was expecting the Grizzlies to be a 3 seed on the precipice of being a 2 seed. Nobody was expecting Morant to be, 27, 6, and 5, or whatever his stat line is this year, top 10 PER. Nobody was expecting that. So, there seems to be a consensus even that he will win Most Improved Player this season. So, that's a well-tread recipe for hobby success. And yeah, not only has he saved that draft class and sort of bailed out people who came in to the hobby in 2019-20, which was a lot of people, primarily for Zion, but all the wax from that draft class has been saved. And look, we could have a win-win if, Lord willing, the good Lord willing, Zion comes back next season. And dude, the Pelicans are pretty well constructed right now. He comes
by 34 tonight
over the Jazz, right?
Yes, they're killing teams right now. They beat the Suns, they crushed the Lakers, and they crushed the Jazz.
Yes, so we could have a best of both worlds potentially next season, where the top 2 picks from that class are going nuts. All right, but why should we be all rosy and flowery? I don't have an appetite to be eternal optimists and blue skies. So let me give you guys my Stephen A. headline. And here it is. If I was Stephen A. Smith, and by the way, Stephen A. Smith has been shilling for Ja Morant for months and months and months. He said months ago he would take Ja Morant over Giannis in a finals as his preferred player to have. Here's my...
Is that a joke?
That is not a joke. Here is my bizarro Stephen A. Smith take.
The fuck else to get 50 points? The fuck?
I don't.
I've ever heard.
He's the reigning Finals MVP. Stephen A. Hoge. Yes. All right. Here's my headline. We need to find out in the playoffs quickly, based on the way that Ja's mainstream narrative has exploded. We need to find out, is it Ja Morant or is it Ja Morant? Is it Morant or Can't? We need to get the answer to that question. Because if Ja Morant is dispatched in the first round, and it looks like they're going to be matched up against either the Nuggets or the Mavericks, although they could steal the 2 seed, and if they do steal the 2 seed, then they might...
Again, Draymond comes back.
Yeah, well, depending upon if Draymond comes back, for sure. There needs to be there needs to be a showing of what he can do. Marantz needs to justify some level of this hype. Now, it's possible that he would get knocked out in a 7-game series and average, 35, 10, and 10 or something like that. And then I would think we would say, all right, Marantz, showed more than enough to justify that he's a terrific player. But if they get unceremoniously knocked out in 5 or 6 games, then, that's going to be a problem. So I think there's a lot on the line now, hobby-wise, for the playoffs. Joe Burrow went all the way to the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow went all the way, and he knocked out some of the best teams en route to doing it, including the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. And he was 1 drive away from winning the Super Bowl. He was literally right in it till the end. So for the Joe Burrow comparison to hold up, we need Morant to make a strong playoff run. And by the way, the Grizzlies are 0-4 this year against the Mavericks, so they better do everything in their power to avoid that team. They're 3-0 against the Nuggets, so maybe that's a matchup that they want to seek out, but Jamal Murray's coming back. All right, I said a lot of things, man. Is it Ja Morant, or is he not going to be able to get it done?
Well, I'm slightly confused because you make the comp to Burrow, and I remember you rooting Burrow on vociferously throughout the playoffs. Like, go, Burrow, go. And you're already mapping out Morant going down in the first round. I guess it's just the Stephen A. thing here. I mean, we know why it is because people are comparing him to Luka, saying he's better than Luka, and he's clearly not, which is fine. I mean, I wanted to make the positive case for Morant, statistically and also hobby-wise. I think hobby-wise we talked about it, but the point of the discussion for me is like, what are we trying to make the case for? Are we trying to say that he's an MVP candidate? Because I cannot make that case. I looked, I tried, I can't. If we want to make the case that he's a young, up-and-coming player who's catapulted himself into the top 15, and that's an exciting move in the hobby, that's an easy case. I think he's done that. He is – where's PER? Player efficiency rating. He's currently 7th in PER, above Trae Young and above Luka. He is 8th in VORP, value over replacement. That's my favorite one because VORP just shows like literally like the MVP rankings to a T in my opinion. It's got Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, Curry, Doncic, LeBron, Chris Paul, Ja Morant. He's not very good at defense. He's about like in defensive box plus minus, he's like middle of the pack in the whole NBA, which is fine. You know, he's like not good, not bad. He's not Trae Young. But his offense is very good. His offensive blocks plus minus on offense, he's 6th in the NBA. So he's very good at offense. He's just a good, exciting player. I mean, there's not much else to say. Like, he's exciting. His PER last year was 16.7, and this year it's over 25. That's a huge jump in PER. His game has gotten more efficient. He's a better shooter this year. He's shooting 34% from three. He's averaging staggering numbers scoring-wise, 27 points. That's a lot for a young player. And he's still super young. I've seen the comps to Rose and Westbrook. Do you really want that comp? Because those guys' prices are like 1/100th of Ja Morant. I'm not sure you guys will like these comps. Another comp I thought of was Monte Ellis. Also not a good comp for the future prospects. I think people prefer the Michael Jordan comp that you let us off with.
Yes, I gave the Jordan comp long ago, and now Bill Simmons is using it. Lots of content creators are using it, but I was the first one, I think, to introduce
last year.
That last year, I said there are signs of this. The athleticism around the rim is Jordan-esque from the early seasons. So, look, there's lots of nice things to say about Morant, and I think you just made the compelling case for why he's like, you know, having a top 10 caliber season by you know some of the box score statistics, and just the team performance as well. The team is the number 3 seed. The other side of the argument that can bring us closer to, I think, the right landing spot is the impact metrics. So 538, for example, has their Raptor impact metrics, and they have Marantz currently at 19th, the 19th best player in the league. Now, the thing that's nice about impact metric is that they take box score statistics, but they adjust them for the strength of the opponents. They adjust them for the capabilities of your teammates, so they look at on-off stuff, and that's not a perfect measure either. So, for example, you know, 538 says that Nikola Jokic, you know, is the best player in the NBA by like twice compared to the second best guy. All right. It's like twice as good as the next best guy. And the reason for that is because when Jokic is on the floor, the team's net rating is incredible. And they are on a historic pace to be a title contender. But when Jokic is off the floor, the team is in poverty. They're lottery pick bad. So that when you look at impact metrics, they're taking into consideration how well does the team do with the player and without the player, and how well are the other players that he plays with and the strength of the opponent impacting it. And on that measure, Morant, if you sort by total Raptor, he's 22nd. He's tied with Bam Adebayo, which is not a bad place to be. If you sort by wins above replacement, he's in 19th, right there with Mikal Bridges. So impact metrics are telling a story that's a lot less thrilling than the highlight reels and the counting statistics show. And I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. I think that's where we ultimately have to land. The team has played very well without him and well with him. And you know what? We can speculate about it all we want, but it's going to have to be show and prove in the playoffs. Not just for Marantz, but for a lot of the young guys. The Mavericks and Doncic need to show something in these playoffs. Tatum and the Celtics, who've already been to the Eastern Conference Finals twice, they need to show something in these playoffs. Trae Young needs to get into the playoffs. He's currently the 10th seed. So there we go. That's what I've got.
Yeah, maybe Doncic can get out of the first round.
Hopefully. Although I don't hold it against him for losing to Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and that Clippers team once in 6 games and then once in 7. And, you know, if Ja Morant goes against a super team like Luka did, and he has a better plus-minus than the best player in the other team, which Luka did versus Kawhi over the course of 7 minutes, Luka won his minutes in the Clippers series. If Morant does something like that, I'll say that was pretty good.
So has anyone said Luka's better than Ja? Who said that?
Not in our chat or in the mainstream.
I don't know. In your world of like what you consume.
Well, look, there's multiple worlds of consumption, and this is a good hobby topic as well, because all this stuff has implications for the hobby. So when the mainstream starts churning out narratives such as Ja Morant is the face of the league, Ja Morant is an MVP, you know, Ja Morant is the best player under 25, people take those cues and run with them, especially people in the hobby who don't have time to, you know, maybe follow every team and every player. They just say Stephen A. Smith is saying it, and, you know, Bill Simmons is saying it, so that's good enough for me. And that's a little bit dangerous for our hobby, because what if these guys are not coming at it from a strictly what's he done point of view, but more of a potential point of view, and maybe it doesn't work out. So I think Stephen A. Smith would certainly take Marantz over Luka. Simmons, in his podcast, said Marantz is knocking at the door of being as good as the group of players that includes LeBron, Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, and Luka. So Simmons is like, he's almost as good. Stephen A. Smith would say, you know, Stephen A. Smith thinks he's better than Giannis. So, you know, that's kind of the look. And here's how it trickles down. You know, like we were saying, trickles down to the hobby. And so maybe all that we're actually doing here is just trying to bring some balance to that equation to say, look, there are agendas at play propping up Marantz, and good ones. You know, the NBA wants to have a player who resonates with youth, with the AAU, you know, basketball culture. They want a high-flying, highlight reel style player, and that was Bill Simmons' case for Marantz. That's many people are making that case for Morant. But can't we make him into the face of the league because he's what we want the league to ultimately look like and be? But, you know, the flip side of that coin is, what if he's not? What if he's not? What if this is a situation where he's a good player on a good team? What if this is a situation where the Celtics are totally fine letting Al Horford be on an island with him because he can't shoot and he has no mid-range game either? So either he's finishing at the rim or he's finishing in transition or he's not finishing. And when the playoffs slow down and you come into a half-court offense, it's a very different situation. Nobody double teams him on the perimeter, but he does draw double teams when he gets to the hoop. What if that's the situation? What if he's not even as good as Derrick Rose? What if during Derrick Rose's MVP season, Rose's team had a better record than Morantz is even capable of getting right now because they already have too many losses? What if Derrick Rose is much more explosive than Morantz is, and it was actually in that period a more exciting player? What if all those things are true? Then we're getting an inflated, pumped-up narrative.
Jeez.
All right.
You're overthinking this guy. Morant's an exciting young player. He's 22, man. He's 22. On the one side, like, yeah, people are like trying to project what he's going to do in the future. We also can't project that he is going to not do that. Like, we just don't know. Just watch. Like, people are just falling into the hype too much, and it's annoying. Obviously, like we really don't like when that happens, and it happens all the time. It happens to Bill Simmons. Like, everyone is falling for the hype, and they're just like, it's just too exciting not to. They just can't help themselves. You know, we'll be the ones to, like, throw some cold water on people if we need to.
Yeah. He is. And you know what? Is if Marantz does do something incredible in the postseason, and or, you know, if the hobby continues to take to him and he stays healthy, knock on wood, then Marantz is going to lift this hobby. And it's going to be for the betterment of every player in this hobby. That Marantz ascends to stardom. We do need somebody to come along and sort of lift up the basketball market as well if we want to continue to see the same rate of gain that we've seen over the previous few years. And Morant could be the guy to do that. So,
dude,
yeah.
He weighs 174 pounds, right? He leads the NBA in paint points. That's
174 anywhere else, but yeah.
I mean, he's not a bad shooter. He shoots 76% from the free throw line, which isn't great. It's better than Luka. And he shoots 49.6% from 49.6 field goal. A lot of that is in the paint, obviously, but he still shoots 34% from three. That's like Trae Young quality.
Well, Trae Young's shooting better this year, but Morant is given wide
He's
open.
a year behind. He's younger. He's a year behind. Trae Young shot like 33 last year, didn't he?
But you have to take into consideration the difficulty of the shot. So Trae Young is getting contested. People respect his three-point shot. Dude, Ja Morant in that Celtics game, Horford was giving him 8 feet of space and just saying, go ahead and shoot. And he did, and he missed a lot. So the shot quality matters. If Steph Curry had got the same looks that Ja Morant got, he would shoot 60% from three in a season. So I think we have to take that into consideration.
Yeah. But Ja Morant can score in the paint not everyone can do everything perfectly. So he plays to his skills. He doesn't shoot as deep of threes. Yep,
he's incredible in the paint. Him and Zion are, which is pretty crazy that those two guys, from the
Zion
same
led the NBA and he led the NBA in paint points last year, and second. Giannis is second in paint points, and Ja Morant's first. That's a crazy stat. You just think it's got to be Embiid or Giannis or these big guys, and nope, it's Ja Morant because I can get into the paint.
Yeah, he can, and when he gets into the paint, he finishes at the rim quite well. I don't know what the percentages on it are, but earlier in the year was remarkable. And look, can we just talk about the turnaround that Morant had as well? If I want to say some more nice things about him, dude. At one point this season, the Grizzlies were 9-10, being led by Ja Morant. Then he got injured. They went 12-2. Morant came back, and fans were heckling him and saying, "Could you please just sit out so that the team can continue to do well?" But Morant said, "No, I'm the leader. I'm the best player on this team, and I'm going to take the steering wheel, and I'm going to take the most shots of anybody on this team. I'm going to have the highest usage rate of anybody on this team. Who cares that they were 12-2 without me?" And so Morant came back, took the steering wheel, and now the team has the second best record in the NBA in the year 2022. Or I guess they fell, or they're tied for second now, but they're 20-7. They're 20-7 in the year 2022. The only team with a better record since January 1st is the Phoenix Suns. So, well done. What can you say? That's an incredible turnaround from having your own fans not even want you to play to heckling you to then just a few months later being the number 5 player on NBA's MVP ladder. Quite the turnaround. All right, is that enough Morant talk for the?
I could go another 6 months without talking about Morant. I'd be just fine. He's one of 12 guys I'd rather talk about. It's just a player.
We exhausted the topic. All right, gave the people what they wanted. Fight at Suns game. Okay.
Suns are losing to the fucking Knicks. You want to know how good Chris Paul is?
Yeah, can we talk about that? Can we talk about what MVP actually means? Because you and me were texting about this. How do you measure MVP?
VORP. It's the value of the replacement that you if we replaced you with an average player, what happens to the team in a percentage difference? Not just it doesn't have to be a number 1 seed, because the difference could be between one player, that team going from a 1 to a 2. That doesn't necessarily mean you're MVP, or even a 2 to a 3. The difference is a 1 seed to an 8, right? That's an MVP, or a 4 to a 6 or to a 15, which is, Jokic is probably the Nuggets are probably 6 seed to literally the worst team in the NBA. They did beat the Rockets tonight without Jokic, though. I'll point that out.
They did.
But Chris Paul, the Suns, it's not that easy. It's not as simple as the Suns didn't make the playoffs and they made the finals, but it kind of is. They only added him and Jay Crowder. And
it is
now that he's injured and they're losing to the Knicks and the Pelicans and
Yeah. I mean, look, since the Chris Paul injury, they're 1-2, right? And the one win actually happened without
Booker. They're 2-2.
Oh, they're 2-2? Okay.
They beat the Thunder with Booker. Well, Booker's out tonight, too.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Losing Chris Paul, who was, pretty much a consensus first-team All-NBA and top 5 MVP candidate, your team should suck. but the question is, how much more do they suck? And we're about to find out with the Suns. And it doesn't look pretty right now for the Suns.
Yeah, I don't really think it matters though. Like they're gonna still get the 1 seed, so like we're just gonna have to wait till the playoffs to find out for real.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to some more questions. Let's maybe try to rapid fire them because we've got so many. All right. So Long Island Sports Card says, could you give 3 wife convincing reasons why I should attend the Mint Collective?
Wife convincing?
Wife convincing.
Well, it's in Vegas, and we all know that wives love when their husbands go to Vegas. I think that's an easy one. Wife convincing reasons? I don't know that there is like a wife convincing
You guys
reason.
are useless. How did you okay, you all men need to listen, okay? Here are your 3 reasons. 1, let's turn it into a no kids weekend, wifey. You come with me to Vegas. We stay in a nice hotel. You go to the spa. I go to a conference to learn and make money to pay for your spa. And then we come home after a relaxing weekend.
Okay, what's number 2?
2, I will be making money on this trip. 3,
How are you making money?
by doing deals.
By selling trading cards.
And by learning at a conference and making and networking. 3, this is a unique one of a kind event that if I miss will be detrimental to my future in this industry.
Wow. Pulling out the big guns.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Josh, you want to add any to
Here's
that?
your answer. No, I do not. No.
Here's your answer. All right. Cards for the Future would like us to talk about the NFT Mickey Mantle sale. Big deal in terms of card market potential and potential in the meta universe. Whether we agree or disagree, the meta universe is coming. I personally enjoy tangible items myself, but it may help our markets and our hobby. So this is what he's talking about. This thing on the left is an NFT that Topps itself released. It's for $471,000 at auction. And then on the right is a Mantle PSA 7, which most recently sold with the PWCC marketplace. Premier auction for $336,000, which is $135K less. So let's talk about this. What does this mean for our hobby that Topps' NFT of the Mantle, what's the release year of that, 2022, that NFT is worth more than a PSA 7?
It means that Topps is about to do this a fuck ton more than they just did. They're like, oh my god, we make $400,000 by doing absolutely nothing. We literally spent 5 minutes on this, and we made $400,000.
They did. They sure
So
did.
I don't know, man. Whatever, dude. It's infinitely replicatable, infinitely. And it's not horrible because Topps made it, and that makes it slightly better. But they're going to start making variations of that. They're going to make a blue mantle border, and they're going to make a different kind, and it's going to start to water your stuff down because they can infinitely replicate that stuff. And they can do that
stop at the Mantle, dude, with the Kobe. Well, right. Well, I don't know if Fanatics controls the NBA license yet, but they will eventually.
Oh, dude, they'll do it with everything. You got to think with cards, I got to go through this process of designing it, creating it, printing it, selling to distributors, or I could just make a digital thing and sell it on some silly blockchain and make 10 times the amount of money. Why would I do it the other way? It makes me a little bit nervous, honestly.
Yep. Yeah, it does. And so we're talking about Metaverse. I don't know how the Metaverse exactly works into this, but I'm just going to break some news to Metaverse advocates right now. The Metaverse is an idiotic concept from start to finish. It is an idiotic concept. First of all, it never goes well when this section of society wants to tell us what our every waking moment of our life should look like. The concept of the Metaverse is you're going to put on a headset and you're going to choose to be in a virtual world over a real one. And so the basis for this is saying, well, people spend a lot of time on their phones, so wouldn't it be better if they could just be in their phones And the reason for that is very, very simple. Social media and our phones and our internet lives are accessories to the real thing, to the real life. They make the real life better. The metaverse is attempting to get rid of real life and to replace it with a substitute real life. And it's not a good substitute real life. It's worse in all the meaningful ways. All the human sensations, the physiological benefits of being a human, things as simple as human touch, which we know from many years of scientific research is very important to well-being. Let's just take all that away and let's just put on headsets and just live our lives where we just kind of look like this. So then what they come back with and say is they come back and they say, look, let's put chips into people. Here's what we'll do. We'll implant chips into people so that we can give them replicas of the physical stimuli that they would get if they were actually in these places. And here's a newsflash for you guys. You will never convince a population like America or any population that Mark Zuckerberg and company will be putting chips in you so that they can simulate sex on an Oculus headset for you. That is never, ever going to happen. So Metaverse, BTFO'd, it's not happening.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever heard of Google Glass?
Yes.
That was a monster flop. People absolutely hated it. And obviously, like, the tech could get a lot better. I watched a YouTube video of a journalist who wore the Oculus headset for 24 hours, and she absolutely hated it. By the end, she was groggy. She felt miserable. Dude, it's going to make people sick. Like, people are going to get sick, and like you said, there's going to be physical breakdowns of people because, like, human interaction, human touch is, like, physically, like, scientifically good for you and healthy. And if we lose that, people are just going to be, matrix blobs, and that's what so, like, even if that was perfected, which you're proving your case is that, like, that's going to suck. Even if it was perfect, how can you possibly convince me that some NFT or some, like, random project is the currency of that new world? I'm missing that connection. Why would Visa, Amex, the US dollar, why would those not continue to be the currency of choice? I don't understand that part. Like, where's the leap to, like, an NFT becoming a new currency of that, or even crypto? I'm confused on that.
Yeah, I agree. So there's the logical.
Look, guess who's creating the metaverse? Facebook, a corporation. You think Facebook's going to be like, yeah, sure, like, decentralize your money. We don't need the money. You guys run your own democracy. No. Facebook controls the metaverse. They want you to pay.
The whole point of the metaverse is to sell you things. So Adidas can't wait to get you into their virtual store so you can buy virtual sneakers.
It's going to be an optimized version of capitalism. It's like a more capitalist society than what you have now.
It's horrific. And people will never want Facebook to be sending signals to a chip that's implanted. Do you guys realize how stupid this sounds? But these are the arguments that people are advancing. But the slimy or the tricky thing about it is these arguments aren't really being advanced in favor of the meta universe. They're being used to advance speculation and investments that exist right now.
Exactly.
So they're saying, of course there's going to be a metaverse. Of course. Haven't you seen sci-fi movies for the last 50 years? We're all going to be sitting, having our headsets on. Of course this is coming. And guess what? Mark Zuckerberg's doing it, so you know it's going to happen, and it's going to be a home run. And so guess what? Before we get there, why don't you buy my NFT? Because these are going to be the brands that exist in the metaverse. And why don't you invest in Bitcoin? Because decentralized currency, and by the way, metaverse is not reconcilable with the concept of decentralization. You made that point. I just wanted to reiterate it. There will be nothing decentralized about a metaverse. It is the total and utter epitome of control by a superior entity to yourself of every facet of your being.
It's like literally the concept of Matrix. We have no control. Like some like corporate, like Terminator. It's all the same. Like literally the future is that some corporation controls all of us. And people want to say it's decentralized. Please move on, dude. Kill me.
Somebody said thanks, Tops.
Dude, like this whole, they're going to make a Jackie Robinson version. They're going to make a Mike Trout, 70 version parallel, whatever the hell. And, I don't get it, dude. And it totally spits in the face of like the history of sports cards, where like there was a true organic grassroots excitement over the 1952 Topps set. It was the first set created by Topps. It was like huge historically. Those packs were like $2, right? They were like organically grown over time, where people actually wanted them. Kids had them in their bike spokes, you know, famously. People are finding them in attics. There's all this like history built into it. Someone made that fucking JPEG of that mantle in like 10 seconds. Does that make you feel better? That some goob in their office made that picture and they sold it for 400 grand? No. I'd much rather the story of like, this was like from my grandpa, you know, like when he was a kid and he passed it down and I found it in my attic and this is the card hat. It's like, whatever, man. You know, please move on.
All right, let's move on. We've so far in rapid fire, we've spent about 15 minutes and done 2 questions. Okay. Trading Card Brothers says, what's more important when first getting to a card show? Going to the value boxes or going and checking out the high-end singles?
Oh, well, for me, it's the singles. You know, I actually don't think I've ever still gone through a value box at a card show. Is that like a sin?
Never? Never once? You never just pulled up a chair and you were like, let me kill an hour?
That's not my thing, no.
Okay. Well, you know, look, the poll was surprisingly pretty even when I posted it to my Instagram story. High-end singles won, but it wasn't a blowout. Plenty of people voted for value boxes too. So, you know, the argument for value boxes would be get to those value boxes before other people do so that you can pick out the best versions and find the steals before somebody else finds them.
Yeah. And that's like the lifeblood of the hobby is not just the high-end stuff. I'm fully aware that I'm a snob about like what cards I buy, and you know the foundation of the hobby is much more than that. It's all the other cards as well. No
doubt. Well, look, if all you value box guys feel a little alienated right now, don't worry. Hoj is with you. The Hoj is going to sit down to that value box with you. It'll be me. It'll be Dr. James Beckett, maybe a few others, and we're just going to be going through those value boxes for 6 hours at a time. All right. And I'll have my monocle and my top hat and my cane, and I'll just be like, "Oh, hello, sir. Oh, what high-end cards do you have for me today? Oh," in my Gucci, what are those stupid like fanny pack things?
Oh my God! Please stop.
All right, Mike Pinkerton 50 says card shows seem to be the best part of the hobby. Will there be huge growth in them? Oh, man, there has been huge growth in them. We've had so many shows. There's a show like every other weekend, right? Like there was one in Atlanta last week. There's a Philly show and a Dallas show, and they're packed, and they're both going on right now. I feel like that's the thing. That was like the theme of 2021, the second half, right? Like as we started to lift restrictions and stuff, that was like totally becoming a theme, and now it's like it's held steady, and it's like it's definitely a thing almost every weekend. I'm getting DMs all the time about like, hey, can you go to this show, and it's like, yeah, it's popping, man. That's a thing. It is a thing, and there's many more smaller shows that are going on. Those two just have a lot of visibility. Yes. Actually, perhaps we were talking about this on Clubhouse the other night, and Carvin chimed in and said, perhaps we actually will see a correction, and we'll see less shows in the future, and people more kind of finding a better balance, and not the concept of the show so much. Would you rather have one like really nice show a month or a quarter, or this like every weekend where you have more selection kind of thing? I'm not saying. Yeah. Do I have to travel to like where is the really nice show? Is it regional, or do I have to like take a day of travel? Day of travel. Yeah, I've been to some of the local ones, like in Arizona, and I'm just like, yeah, I'd rather just like combine these into one nice one a quarter. Yeah, there is something charming about the local show that's like 50 tables and just people you've never seen before, and like, hey, what's going on? And the guy's got a binder set out, and it's got pages and full of pages of $2 to $5 beat to hell vintage baseball singles. There's something cool about that experience, but no, I would prefer the nice show. That's a gathering place for everybody, which is what Dallas almost is. Dallas card show kind of is that in a sense, right? Their cadence for Dallas is really strong. I feel like you're right. It's a nice balance. Yeah. Okay. Grail Card Quest says, remind us what are some of the most purely fun things to do in the hobby? Purely fun? My answer to this is building binders of like
picking a player and filling out binders and trying to fill out the binder with like you almost make it a game of like, can I get something to fill this binder but still like enjoy looking at every card in this binder? Because there's obviously a massive restriction on price. If you're trying to fill a binder, you can't have like a bunch of $10,000 cards and stuff. That's not real. That's not realistic. So you have to like try to find, for Penny Hardaway, it's not that hard because there's so many 90s cards that are like $10 and under that are like still pretty cool looking, in my opinion. That's mine.
That's a great one. Mine is just the excitement of, a card that you've been looking for and you've been patiently waiting for coming available. Or a really, really cool card coming up at auction that you hadn't even thought of, but like you're like, damn, this is a really cool card. Let me start organizing. Let me make a move to try and get this card. And that whole experience from then like identifying it to then hopefully winning it, or similarly the thrill, the chase. To me, that whole process, that end-to-end process from identifying a card, chasing it, pursuing it, getting it, and then ultimately comes in the mail day. That is something that's pure fun.
Sounds fucking brutal.
Yeah, who would ever want that? Can't we make this better for collectors? Okay, mostly 90s basketball says, do you have any advice for collectors who are chasing cards that keep getting shilled on eBay? Is there anything that can be done to combat this problem?
I think of that. Is it a Flawless, the Trae Young that Lamine keeps posting? I feel like it's the same. Is that he's serious, right? That's like the same card over and over, right?
Yeah, it's Trae's Immaculate RPA.
I think of that. Oof. It sucks because like you want to say like go find a private deal and like avoid the auctions, but then you just know that the private seller is gonna be like, well, I've seen these auctions go for this and it's worth that, and you're like trying to prove to them that they're shilled, so it's just like, ugh.
How about this? How about do us all a favor, win the freaking card that's being shilled, and let's all just move on. How about that? Take one for the team.
That's a Chris method. Just buy it.
Just buy it. No, look, dude, shilling sucks. There's not a ready, ever-present solution to it. And, man.
What would you do with the Mahomes? If you wanted a Mahomes Silver PSA 10, you posted about it.
Yep. I would wait for one to show up at a fixed price or wait for one to show up on a platform that polices shilling effectively.
Look at that. I forced you into an answer. Isn't that great?
All right, let's move on. Mitten State Collector says, if you were... Oh, I know the answer to this one. This is a great question. Mitten State Collector says, if you were a judge in the hobby... Yeah, I got this one. What punishments would you issue to people who hold rare cards of players hostage at comically high bins and refuse to negotiate? What punishment would you give to these people?
Well, let's hear it. Come on.
Death is the punishment for these people.
Oh, man. I would make them go in the metaverse for 24 hours.
They would love it there. These are the type of people who will fucking love the metaverse. That's a reward.
No, dude. Have you ever met someone that's like, bro, I spent 24 hours. I was in there for the whole weekend and I fucking lived it up. I've never met that person. Maybe I'm just...
Yes, there is one person at least. Shout out Summertime Cards.
No, come on, dude. He's not actually like wearing the goggles and stuff.
He has the goggles on. He's like this, and he's just like, he might be in the metaverse every time I talk to him, and I wouldn't even know.
Can I tell you a really hilarious observation about the metaverse? I'm sure it's been pointed out on like Reddit, but I'll just say it again. Why does it look like The Sims from 2006?
Dude, the graphics are weak, man. So weak.
Like I've seen like the avatars look like they're freaking The Sims. Like what the heck? We've had this technology for for like 20 years. They look the same. I thought it was supposed to be like more immersive.
Wait, the metaverse is like an actual thing. It's not just like a concept.
It's a thing. You put on the headset and you're in a virtual world.
But literally though, Christina, you can answer this too. If I gave you guys a challenge and I paid you like $1 million and I said, get into the metaverse and spend 24 hours in it by, within like a 30-hour window, could you even figure it out? I don't even know if I could.
Christina didn't even know.
What did you do?
I thought this was like projected.
That is how this is so preposterous. This concept is so preposterous. This only could have come out of a boardroom at Facebook.
Okay, the whole thing is like, you guys said it before. You were like, oh, like people say like, oh, haven't you seen sci-fi? We're headed that way because movies. It's like, have you never like finished the plot of that movie?
Right.
Like, it doesn't end well for the humans. Like, what
Yeah,
do you
go
guys
watch
do?
Terminator.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't really want to be harassed by a nude Arnold Schwarzenegger. I just don't.
Why did you have to bring the metaverse back up? All right.
Because it's such an easy target. It's such an easy target.
It is an easy
Oh
target.
my god. I obviously work on Card Ladder too much that I didn't even know this thing existed.
How dare you not know about the metaverse?
Yeah.
Get back to work.
All right. Let's go. Chrissy Bucket says, he says, it feels like a lot of love is given to players from after the 2016 draft class, as opposed to the players from earlier, setting aside the GOATs. So it seems like this is due to new people getting into the hobby and picking their guy and staying loyal to them. And with the way sports cards are major investments at this point, do you think these shiny new objects, that being the players, will they always have collectors and a large market share, even if they don't win MVPs and championships?
Man, this is such a good question, dude. I mean, a lot of it is just the fact that, like, so many people came into the hobby in 2018, 2019 draft classes, and that's just the way it is. Like, that's what their nostalgia is already. Like, that's what they connect to of that draft class. Totally understandable. And it's like, you know, Tatum and Mitchell basically get lost in the shuffle, I feel like, just because of that. If Tatum and Mitchell were the 2018 class, I feel like they'd have more hobby love. And the follow-up question to that was like, what is it like? Is there going to be value in players if they don't win MVPs and stuff? That's kind of the question.
Yeah.
I think that's the goal of the hobby to me. Like, in my opinion, that should be the goal of the hobby. Like, everyone that's a participant in the hobby and wants to see it thrive and grow in the future, that's like a concrete thing to point to say, like, this is how we be successful. And it's that there's, like, strong markets and interest in players that aren't winning MVPs, because that's really such a small group.
Yeah, it is. And I think that many professional athletes, let's just take the NBA, for example, there's lots of players who are collectible and who have great stories and who do important things that help good teams win, or maybe they're not on good teams, but they do impressive stuff. And I think the hobby certainly benefits if there are collectors and people who can enjoy some level of security and stability in markets for young players, for vets, for retired players. I totally agree. That's a great ambition for us to have, but it's also not realistic. There's always going to be speculative run-ups, and then there's always going to be arbitrage opportunities where if a certain player gets too high, people who are holding that player sell that player and graduate into something else that they prefer a little bit more at that price. I think there's always going to be those opportunities. But, look, we do have some precedents, for this. Like in the 90s, which a lot of us have nostalgia for, there are players from the 90s who continue to be collected today. You have Josh collects one of them. You also have Grant Hill. There's players from the 90s who continue to be collected today. Dude, a Steve Nash PMG green is worth six figures. So, look, there's hope yet. And look, I think that the intensity of the hobby and the amount being invested into it today is orders of magnitude larger than it was in the 90s.
Yep.
So I think there are some reasons to hope that markets will remain somewhat strong. Look, if Joe Burrow never makes it back to another Super Bowl, maybe his raw NT RPA shouldn't be $100,000, which is what it sold for Golden recently. An incredibly strong sale. But maybe, there's a floor at 30 or something, that I don't know. It's an interesting topic, and but we need to have some losers too, right? Is that fair? Do we need to have some losers too?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you definitely need losers. I mean, that's really the whole $100,000 thing for a guy who hasn't done anything is just that's not what I was talking about. That scenario is just $100,000 is a couple years salary for the average. That means it's just what? That stuff is way too out of control for me. I was thinking more when I made that statement, it'd be cool to have popular players who aren't necessarily MVP championship guys who have, $5,000, $6,000, $1,000 cards, stuff that still has, to a normal person, pretty serious demand.
Yeah, hey, I like that. I like that as an opportunity in the hobby right now, kind of picking players like a DeMar DeRozan or, something like that. Yeah, I like it.
Dude, James Harden RPAs are cheap relative to in this world that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
And Harden has a lot ahead of him potentially this year, especially. Like, that would be an exciting guy. You could prospect him, and you already know what he is. He's freaking really good.
Yeah, he is. and there is opportunity there too, because the mainstream narrative has just rained on him for so long.
Mm-hmm.
For so long that he could break through, and all of a sudden, the guys on the TV shows are gonna have no option but to say nice things about him. So, all right.
Yep.
All right, Process Through says, what do you do when a player you collect and are invested in takes a public position on politics or social issues that offends your personal beliefs? And relatedly, would you buy a player's card if that player has said or done something that offends your personal beliefs? In the arts, this would be like separating the art from the artist. So it would be like separating the card from the player.
That's a good question, man. Like, LeBron is hinted at stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I wish he wouldn't have said that. He's said stuff that bothers me. MJ has that famous line about Republicans buy shoes too, and that pissed a lot of people off. I think you got to.
Ironic that happened. He was trying to please everyone and please no one.
I think you got to separate it to a healthy amount. I think you keep tabs on it, and if it's gets out of control and it really starts to weigh on you and your happiness of collecting that person, obviously you should move in the other direction. But you gotta find some sort of balance and disconnect it a little bit, because also remember these people are humans. They have their own opinions, and it'd be insane to agree. You and I don't agree on a lot of stuff. It's just not realistic to agree with someone on everything. So maybe just try to find some balance.
Yeah, I don't even have a ton to add to that. The one thing I want to add is that it's not just so easy saying, oh, I'm just going to separate the art from the artist, or I'm going to separate the player from the opinion. It's really not so easy, because we might think that the reason we like a player is just because of how good they are at their sport, but I think there's more to it than that. I think we come to like a player because the way they play the sport says something about their personality and who they are. Are they a facilitator, or are they a ball-dominant player? What position do they play? How do they approach games? How do they act during games? How do they sound in their press conferences? We think about that stuff, and that stuff matters too. Legacy-wise, it matters. So it is, there's more to it than just I'm going to separate the performance from the athlete. I don't think it's quite that clean. So I do think it's worth thinking about. There's a player that there are red flags about that player that makes you feel uncomfortable supporting them. Metaphorically supporting them by collecting them, which is kind of what that is. And when you collect them, it kind of says something about you. I would be very cautious about it. That's what I would say about that. I've
found that people that collect Jordan and LeBron, they really, they get behind their personalities of they kind of take what they want. They kind of take what's theirs kind of mindset. And those people are really behind those personalities in their own lives. And people that like LeBron are a little bit more let's get other people involved. Let's lift up people around us. It's, there's like you said, there's personalities that people like to pull out of their games. And it's I can relate to this, or I like this about that person. I think that's kind of a cool, spin on how to collect a player.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's something to that. All right. Dormant Stash said, what percentage value is gained by a card being jersey numbered?
Man, I feel like lately it's gone down. It used to be more when I first came into the hobby, it was kind of a big deal. And recently, maybe just the new wave of people just haven't bought into it as much. I feel like it's not that much. I've seen people try to offer me stuff at 10x. That's a jersey number. I'm like, where are you getting that shit? Well, it's jersey number. I'm yeah, but based on what? How are you building this multiplier? It kind of just seems all over the place. I don't even know if I can wrap my arms around it.
Yeah. Fair points. Would you rather have, if we're talking NT-RPA, would you rather have the jersey numbered RPA out of 99, or would you rather have the gold out of 10?
You shouldn't have asked me that, because I would have chosen non-jersey numbered 99. I just don't like the
Option 3. Okay.
No, I'm just saying, like, I just like the 99 in general more.
Makes sense. Look,
I get what you're saying, though. I'd choose the jersey number in that scenario. Like, if you're forcing me into, like, the rarity thing and, like, that the 10 and the 99 are, like, on equal playing fields. But
by the way, that's a thought that needs more airtime as well. The idea that, hey, the 99 is the true, and everything else, all the parallels are, accessories to the true. That's a school of thought that it doesn't get a lot of voice these days.
Yeah, it's not a very popular opinion because, like, go to is it? I think it was on Alt that I saw it. Where, like, the Herbert at a 10 is already at like 170,000, and it's like the 99 is clear, like, not even close to that. And I'm just like, why would you spend triple for the 10? Like, the way that I think of that is, like, I just add them all up. Like the 10, the 5, the 49, the 99, like, they're all like the same looking card basically. So, like, I just kind of pick the more true 99 and like call it good for me. But I don't know why that's kind of gotten away in the last few years. Like, I guess it's more like an investor thing to say, rarity and serial numbers and non-base cards, serial numbered rare parallels is a thing. But to me, it's more about like the true like accepted version of the card, historically. But that hasn't been as popular lately.
Yeah, no, I think the multiplier is at least 2 to 3x right now for active players. Like, for example, we just verified a sale of the Marantz NT RPA that happened a month ago. That the jersey number 1299 Marantz NT RPA, a PSA 8 for $550,000. The 9.5 sold even more recently than that for $245,000, and that's a low population card. So, 2 to 3x, I think, is what we're looking at.
God, go look at Derrick Rose's RPA values, people. Dude, Morant, like, I was watching that Celtics game, and I was like, oh my God, he's going to blow out his knee every play. I'm just like, he's so skinny, and he's, like, going with such reckless abandonment that it's like, oh my gosh, please don't die.
Yeah. But if he gets injured, his team will probably win it all, so win-win. I'm joking. Joke. All right. 23 over Elo says, talk about what it means to be patient in the hobby today. Is it possible to be patient in the current hobby climate, the Kirby?
You know what? I've said this on this show a couple of times. I've literally never heard anyone else give this take. My hobby existence will be, I'm in year 6 of like 40 years. So I'm better pace myself. I've got plenty of time. I got another 30 years to find some of these cards. It's like, I feel like there's like no patience. there's 99 copies, but like I might not get the next one. It's like, you'll find another one. There's 99 of them. Like, and the guy trying to, fleece me and bend me over on a card numbered out of 100. I'm like, dude, I'll just wait for the next one. There's 100 of them. I'm not like going to kill myself for this. And I've got 30 years to find one. No one ever talks about the super long term because everything is just now. The Metaverse is coming and it's going to replace us all in a year. We got to hurry up. I don't know, man. I'm more patient. I'm more patient than that, I guess.
Yeah. Good. I like that take. It is possible to be patient. All right. Ricky Puyido says, Lamim James is on fire this past week with all of his posts, especially the Ja Morant ones. Respectfully. Oh, we have a question about that coming up too. So maybe what do we want to do here? Can I find a decent... Lamim James also has confided in me that he's been very angry lately. And he's been taking it out on all of us in his memes. I like this meme, actually. It says, your girl trying to figure out how you got a 5-figure collection, yet she's still rocking busted-ass Crocs, a fake Louis Vuitton purse, and eating off the McDonald's dollar man.
Facts.
Okay, that's not bad. Oh, look, this is appropriate. So, look, we've got up here, we've got Homer.
Oh, it's the Ja Morant
jersey numbered card. And then Homer, shit condition, napkin patch, smudged auto, trash set. So jersey number is covering up all sorts of flaws.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Lamim is basically like an artist, right? And like
Yeah.
in order to motivate an artist, there's like different things you can do, and for him it's like anger. So every once in a while I'll just like poke him. I'll poke the bear and like make fun of Trey, or talk about like something that really I know is going to piss him off, and usually like a good meme comes out of it.
Yes, we are all his muses. So this caption is ja 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 angry emoji, and then it's Homer. Wow, Homer's making a lot of appearances in these memes. Homer says, "Should I buy more Ja cards?" While there's on the TV screen Anderson Cooper with the headline "Deadly Asteroid Headed to Earth."
Dude, I've been using Simpson references more recently. I think
You sent me one today as well. Yes.
The Simpsons have like, so many good references in history because they've just been around for so long, and the show always hits on like topical society things. So.
Yes, indeed. I'm just going through his story real quick here to see if there was any. To see if he's also like standing up for Trey a little bit right now. Which, like, look, there's going to be a good young player. Like, look, like Mahomes guys had to feel it this year with Burrow, and Luka and Trey guys, and Herbert. Luka and Trey guys have had to feel it with Marantz this year. And guess what? Marantz and Burrow guys, it's going to happen to you too. Just wait. Just you wait. All right. Nice looking cardboard says, "Give me your best respectfully quotes or statements."
I was laughing at like the BGS white label one he had. It was like, BGS white labels are the worst, respectfully. and then he was like, actually, it's these blue label ones.
Well, here, I'll start us off. The Metaverse is the dumbest thing ever thought of, respectfully.
Is that just like a get out of jail free card? You just add respectfully, and you can just say whatever you want.
It makes whatever you said before it fine.
I don't think it works like that.
I think it does. It's like with all due respect, don't let me get started.
I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, this is bait. This is definitely bait.
Like, I just want to immediately start making fun of Panini products, respectfully.
Well, Lamine had one of those too. He had this year's Contenders football, and he said, respectfully, this looks like trash.
I thought that one looked okay. I mean, yeah, whatever.
They never look as good in the mock-ups as they do.
No. Yeah, well, I mean, that means you're not a big digital card collector guy, huh?
Oh, no, I guess I've backed myself into a corner here. No more digital cards for me.
No more? Oh, my God. Finally, you're stopping. I'm take away this guy's credit card. Oh, no, sorry. I didn't mean credit card. I meant your crypto wallet. Fuck.
Yeah, let's go chat. Let's get the chat going. Hoj needs to buy the Ja Kaboom, respectfully.
Yeah, Kaboom is horribly overvalued, respectfully.
Okay, Max, I'm not reading that, but that's funny.
You, on the Sports Card Nonsense, you were like, oh, the 2013 retro set is amazing. And I was like, God, I hate that set, respectfully.
Yeah, let's talk about the Marvel cards. You don't like that set? That set is cool, respectfully.
No, you said like all Fleer retro, and I was like, it's pretty terrible. Like,
I don't like Fleer retro. I think those PMGs don't shine, respectfully, and I think the college uniform stuff is bullshit, respectfully.
Thank you. Like, they're just complete ripoff of literally every insert. They're like, let's just redo all of them. Fuck it, Noise Boys, like every single one. It's like, God damn, what? Because I remember we talked to Jean about that at National, and she was like, dude, they like literally ripped off every single one. Like, they didn't even come up with a single original thing, except for Marvel, respectfully.
She said that they didn't use the same technology and manufacturing practices, respectfully. So they didn't put the same in hand, respectfully.
Respectfully, they look like shit, respectfully.
The technology got worse in 20 years, respectfully. It's literally like 15 years later, and it's worse.
How did...
Like Metaverse making technology worse.
Exactly. How did sports card manufacturing technology fall off a cliff? Respectfully. Shouldn't things always evolve and get better? Respectfully.
Give us a live look at the Metaverse, respectfully.
How did you know I got an Oculus headset? Did you know?
I just thought you know. Well, wait. Hold on a second. In the metaverse, where does the trash go?
There is no trash.
The ocean.
Well then.
But I did order a headset and some of the supplies, so I do have like a feel for the metaverse, but look. So here, I'll give you like a live look at kind of my experience so far.
Dude, there's no fucking way you ordered that dumb goggle set.
No, I did not. Respect.
I would fly out over there and beat your ass respectfully. Christina would happily watch it happen.
He might be dead by the time you arrive.
Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, all right.
I get there and she's just like,
what do I do with all these cards? Okay. All right. YT.
And I'm like, Chris went on a trip. Where'd he go? I don't know. He went on a trip.
All right.
we just start giving up your cards. Like immediately.
All right. YTMN card says, if you could completely erase one set from existence, what would it be and why?
Flare retro.
Dude, that's why I saw that question. I had that answer ready to go, and I jumped the gun.
It's
2013 for
No, I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's mine. I just wish I could erase it from my memory.
Yeah, I would get rid of, I said on my story, I'd get rid of all those Upper Deck sets that were like 100 Jordan cards in them. And then they did it to like LeBron and other people too. I would just get rid of all those. Those
Yep.
are corny. I would get rid of all the products that I don't currently collect and like right now. So like, sorry, respectfully, Flawless, gotta go. Flawless, you're threatening national treasures. We don't need this, all right? Respectfully.
But you need them by comparison. You need the trash to sit next to something to make the other thing look better.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Dude, Flawless. I have like bit my tongue on Flawless for so long. I don't know how many times you can remake a white background horizontal card. I just don't get it. Respectfully.
Respectfully. All right, well, we've been respectful. Okay. Drake's PC says, why do you feel that die-cut cards are not loved by the hobby? Many have great designs, many are numbered, but they don't seem to be desired by hardcore collectors.
It kind of makes me think of you might have a better answer than me, so please jump in. It kind of makes me think of like why, people asking like why people don't like oversized cards or they don't like memorabilia as much. People just like really like the consistency and the shape of cards and like how you can hold them, and die cuts just kind of toe that line a little bit too much sometimes, where it's like, is this a card or are you just like mangling a piece of paper and calling it a card? Now, some die cuts though are pretty sick, so it just, it kind of depends.
Yep, makes sense. Like, look, the thing why I like die cuts is because I remember being in the 90s and opening packs and everything was just this perfect 2.5 by 3.5 inch card, but that die cut was the big hit. That was the awesome card. So I have a positive Pavlovian response to the die cut card.
What's the Jordan die cut? I know it's embossed. What's the? I'm trying to figure out where your Jordan one.
Gold embossed refractor.
The 74. Where's the die cut at? Where's it at?
So it's the top of it is die cut like a ball.
Yeah, so there's like some die cuts that are less outrageous than others. Like Jambalaya, like you cut the corners off, you make it a shape.
Right.
Some of them are.
The problem with die cuts today, some of them, is that they're just totally random.
Yes.
They're just die cuts for the sake of being a die cut, and it doesn't make sense.
But dude, the cut above is one of my favorite inserts. That's a die cut, but it's like it has a purpose. Like the theme of it is very. I mean, today it's like it's pretty corny, right? It's like, and like the Hot Shots is like a flame. It's kind of corny, but I mean, it like sticks to what it is. It's a flame, so you got the flames.
Question: would linchpins can be considered a die cut when it has like the cutouts?
No.
Okay, I was just wondering.
I don't think so, right, Chris? I think a die cut is like to the rectangular shape of it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like when people say die cut, they mean they mean the edges.
The outside shape.
But I think technically die cutting technology was used to punch those holes out. I don't know.
And like platinum portraits.
Suns took the lead. Let's go.
Wow.
Okay, I'm gonna put that game on. So if the next question is not great, then
Yeah.
I'll be watching the game.
Yeah, and
There's 20 seconds left.
dude, the Knicks are like 3-17 in their last 20 games. They're so bad.
Kind of like make me feel worse about beating the Knicks, bro.
A little bit, respectfully. Derrick Rose, man, that guy matters. That guy really matters. I don't like the narrative that's gotten painted onto him that like, oh, you know, he got an injury and now he's just trash. Like, no, dude, he's a high impact player, and the impact metrics bear that out too when he plays. Like, he's valuable, man.
He has made quite the career for himself after all that shit he took in Chicago and then the injury, and just like it could have gone a lot worse. He could have been Odin and stuff, man. He just really recovered. I thought, well, no, the Knicks scored.
No,
Knicks take the lead.
So what is Phoenix calling timeout and then?
Yep, 15 seconds. So the Knicks missed the shot, but they tipped it in on the rebound because Suns couldn't rebound. Dang. 15 seconds. Suns down 1 with the ball at half court.
This game is late as hell.
Oh, dude, not for me. It's only 10:40.
Yeah.
The game's in Arizona, so it's not late for us.
9:40 in California.
Yeah. Not for long. Going back to the daylight savings here soon, right?
Nice.
Go ahead. I'm listening to the next question.
All right. By the way, wasn't that funny that Jeremy Lee was like, he's like, I'm going to try not to read every comment that comes in tonight. Jeremy, I know that was hard for you, respectfully, and I appreciate your efforts to not read every comment, my man.
You can't do that with our chat. You'll get yourself in trouble.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
What did that word say? Oh, never mind.
Jared. All right, Mad City Collector says, would you ever pay more for a lower graded card that has better eye appeal than a higher graded card, especially if it's centering?
Nah.
Fair.
Probably mostly because I don't collect vintage.
Right. I mean, the right answer to that question is, yeah, I collect the card, not the grade, and you know. But I just appreciate I appreciate your candor, Joe.
Like a PSA 9 with like centering that's like, oof, or a PSA 8, and I'm not sure what's wrong with it. Maybe that's the only scenario, probably. But even then, I'm like, just give me the 9.
Fair.
Oh, Cameron Payne misses a layup! Dude, Cameron Payne, you bum. You fucking bum. You missed a layup.
Is that it? Is that all she wrote?
Nope, foul, 7 seconds. Bro, dude, wide open lane. You just fucking clanged it off the backboard. Come on.
That's all right. Let the Knicks shoot 2 free throws, and then we got a shot at overtime.
Alec Burks for the free throws. God, dude, that's a layup, bro.
Campaign. Wasn't he out for a while?
Yeah, he's second game back. He's been out for a long time.
Holy shit. Cameron Johnson has 35 points.
Yeah, dude, he's good.
Wow.
Off the bench, too.
Wow. Why does DeAndre Ayton have 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist in 34 minutes?
Because I don't know. Would you guys be Suns fans right now? We wouldn't have Chris Paul, though. Oh, my God, he missed the second one. Go, go, go. Oh, they're not calling timeout. 3,
Josh.
2.
Wait.
Cam Johnson for the win. Oh, he backs it.
It went in?
He went in the fucking oh, my fucking God. He backed it, dude. You gotta see this shit. Watch this. Oh, my God. He backed it.
No, bring it in. I can't quite see it.
Okay, sorry. I'm too excited. He banks it for the win. Check this out. Dude, I can't wait to watch the live reaction of that. What just happened? I just said nothing. Watch this. Respectfully, suck it, Knicks.
Dude, the Knicks are sucking it. Respectfully.
Watch this, dude. Okay, you gotta watch this. They're down 2 with 7 seconds. And the Knicks are shooting for a free throw to go up 3. He misses it. Suns rebound and just go coast to coast. Kick it back to Cam Johnson for a tough, super long 3, and he banks it home at the buzzer to win. Watch this. Here we go. Missed the free throw.
Oh, man. Wow.
Cam Johnson, you called it.
Dude, game of his life, man. 38 points in 28 minutes.
Wow. Did he call bank? I don't think he called bank. That's a freaking tough shot.
Yeah, it was pretty well contested, too.
That was exciting.
All right, way to go, Suns.
Oh, man, that was exciting. All right, next question.
Next question. Oh,
Wait, I have a question. I have a question for Christina because I know the answer. Yeah, it's more. Her answer is more interesting than yours. When the Mavs lose, are you just like in a bad mood that day?
Yes.
you are? Yeah, she does get pissed. She gets pissed whether they win or lose. She gets angry at many things that happen during the course of the game. Many things. She will get very upset at the refs. She'll get upset at things occurring.
I get upset at Mark Cuban for just being there, like just like seeing him on the floor like during timeouts. I'm just like, what are you doing? Go to the owner's box and like get out of the refs' faces because you're the reason the refs don't like the match.
Look, like don't let the announcers start saying nice things about the other team. That's gonna fire her up as well. Like the Mavs announcers are big time homers, so like we're spoiled by that. They never say anything good about the other team. But like national broadcasts, Christina will start talking.
I hate Doris.
She will start talking back to them.
Yeah, I hate Doris.
You know, it's the worst for people like Christina and I. I watch games the same way you do, Christina. I get like, it makes no sense. You're watching it with me. You're like, this guy is so annoying. He's not even making sense. But the thing that's annoying for people like Christina and I is watching games with people who are like, well, actually, statistically, that's what should have happened. Right. And like, if you break down, I'm like, no, this is an emotional game.
Yeah.
Let me be rational.
Let me just be like emotional about my team. And Chris is sitting there and he's like, well, that was actually a good play. And actually, like, he did foul them. And I'm like, shut up! I'm like, I don't care if he punched him in the face. Look, he shouldn't have been called for a foul.
Look, honestly, if I shouldn't be the rational fan because I'm not fair either. I'm so biased in favor of my team. If I'm the most sober voice watching
you would be.
There's a problem.
With the three of us, you'd be like, actually, that was a foul. And it's not a fucking foul. Like, I'd be like, you know.
Yeah.
I have a friend like that where he's like so obnoxiously trying to be in the middle. He's like, well, I mean, that was a foul. I would have called like, no, dude, we're trying to win this. That's like for the win. Like, this is the end of the game. We can't have that foul.
Agree. I agree. I also, believe that, like, look, dude, I believe everything should go my team's way. We should get the benefit of the calls. We should make our difficult shots. The other team should miss their easy ones.
Right.
It should all go our way. And I don't get upset if it goes our way. But if it goes the other team's way, I will be furious.
That's my favorite argument. Like, after my team loses, I'll just justify it by saying the other team hit more lucky shots than we did.
Yes, and it's usually true as well. Shooting luck and three-point shooting actually does determine a ton of games.
Yeah, it's the NBA. They're all – what is it? What does Jeff Van Gundy always say? It's a make-or-miss league?
Do you remember, Josh, being in Dallas last year? We were watching the Mavs play, and someone came over to us and started talking to our table, and I literally was, like, glaring at them every time, like, there was a timeout or something, and I was just like, get the fuck away from me. Like, I'm watching a game and you're talking in my ear. Like, we're sitting down for lunch in front of this big screen. Like, we're not here to talk to you, kid. Back up.
Okay. Yeah.
Respectfully.
All right.
Respectfully.
Jesus Christ.
And also, like, yeah, me watching Suns games, like, it's probably just best if I watch by myself because it's just, this is my safe space where I can scream at the TV as much as I want. I don't need people judging me and how I watch the games.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you prefer to watch games with people or
100%. No, by myself. Dude, even my wife is like, why are you getting so upset? Because I want to, okay? I want to be upset. Let me be upset. That play did not go my way, and I feel like being a little bitch right now. I watched the game 6 of the finals where the Lakers beat the Heat. I was in my own bedroom eating dinner by myself. I brought the dinner up to the room by myself. I had like a TV tray, and I was fucking screaming and watching the game, and I like it that way.
Yes.
Respectfully.
Yes. Yep. You know, I'm the same way. If I'm really invested in the outcome of a game, I prefer to watch it by myself. And I prefer to have a chat or a Twitter that I can just go to and just rage. When something fucked up happens, I just rage.
A Homer one?
Oh, Homer for sure. Yeah.
Homer chat?
Yeah, Homer chat. 100% Homer chat. And we all just complain together. The refs are jobbing us. We're getting screwed. I need that. Okay.
That's the best way to consume, like, dude, we only have one life on this planet. Let me just do it my way and bitch as much as I want to bitch in my own way. Just leave me alone.
God damn it. You guys need to let this metaverse thing go. All right.
Bidding pieces of Salisbury steak, yelling at the dude. Exactly. I'm like, LeBron's bigger, so give him more calls. Like he's the one getting fouled. That's totally me.
You know what's fucked up too, but fair. Fucked up, but fair. When your player loses and fucking everybody DMs you and they're like, not so hot after all, and you're like, dude, you already know I'm fucking raging right now, and you're coming in for the salt.
Yeah, but it kind of feels good when you're on the other end of it.
No, I know. It's a big game. It's a long game. So, you know, we don't have a choice. We'll have to play it. So people get theirs on you, but then what comes around goes around, and you get your turn as well, and then it balances out. But when they throw the salt in the wound, it is.
I probably got like 4 years of that when the Cavs came back on the Warriors. It's just like I'm gonna enjoy. You don't know. It's like probably sickening how many podcasts I listened to for months after that. Like I've already listened to this one, but fuck it, I'll listen to this one again. See what they have to say.
Oh, that's the best, man. That is what it's fucking all about. That's what it's all about.
Victory laps.
Dude, the best part of my relaxation moments during my week is fucking games. It's the games. I look forward to them. They structure my week watching my favorite teams.
They also stress me out a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, well, look, the stress level is about to peak in about a month and a week.
Well, every game is important. It's like, can I just have a break tonight? Can you just blow them out once?
Dude, how about this? How about Mavs up 2-0 on the Clippers, up 20 points in the first quarter of Game 3, and still lose the series?
Brutal.
All right. Ryan Rudzant said, if you could ask one athlete something about cards, what would it be?
Oh, I'd ask LeBron. Be specific. Which cards do you own? You said that you might have a couple of those. I want to know, which cards do you own? All of them. Give me a list.
That's awesome. That's a great question. That's unfair. Your player has said he owns his Exquisite RPA. So that's an obvious one. I don't know. I don't want to ask athletes anything about cards. And if I ever hang out with athletes, I'm not talking about cards. But I don't care to hang out with an athlete either. So
I love that take. You were like on an island on that, but I love it so much.
Dude, that's my island. I'm on the island of I don't give a shit about athletes or celebrities. I don't care. I don't want to hang out with you guys.
You don't want a dinner with Michael Jordan?
Hell no. Michael Jordan would be like, oh, who's this bald motherfucker coming up to my table right now? Hey, what did you do for a living? You track card prices on a piece of software?
Fuck out of here, yeah.
Fuck you. Do I need to live through that? No.
Would you rather have dinner with Christina and myself or Michael Jordan? And hold on. No, hold on. Crazy guy, calm down. Michael Jordan. Yeah, respectfully. Michael Jordan, like, in some weird alternate universe, is like your friend. And it's like it's totally not like you're just this on a lower level than him.
I know where you're going. I don't care to be Michael Jordan's friend. I don't care. It would not mean anything to me. I don't think there's any clout that accumulates to me.
I don't. Did you just do the selfies with him and stuff?
No. I am that's the most least interested thing for me ever, is to know and whatever. I don't even want to know you. You are a character in a book. Stay there.
All right, Christina, same question, but Luca.
I'd rather have dinner with Chris and Josh. I also I really don't care. I don't honestly, I don't really like people, so.
Nice. Christina's going even further. She's like, I don't want to meet anybody.
Yeah, there are few people in the world who don't piss me off, like, even when they're my friends. So the fact that you guys, I can hang out with you and, like, talk to you every day and not be sick of you, like, means I'd rather just have dinner with you guys. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Me and LeBron got a date tomorrow, and you are not invited.
It's all good. Look, dude, if you can find enjoyment in that.
Because, you know, it's like, it's what we were talking about earlier tonight, where, like, I feel like if you just give me 10 minutes with LeBron, I could convince him that I'm worthy of being his friend.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
That's not like a weird thing. Like, don't read into that. With my words.
Okay. No reading into it, respectfully.
And Cage is asking about Maxie, same answer.
No.
Damn.
No. All right. I'm glad that question cropped back up again. We should
it's a fun topic, dude.
Once every 6 months.
It's a fun topic for sure.
All right. Oh, Cardi C. Cardi C opens this with, "Don't hate me for this."
No.
But a question stemming from Top Shot. Top Shot has a system in place where users complete challenges and can receive drops in the future for completing that challenge. For example, anyone who completed an All-Star challenge from any year gets a free All-Star pack. Do you think something like this would benefit traditional sports card collectors? How would you feel about gamifying the hobby to unlock a new type of collector?
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, my answer, respectfully, is it's gimmicky, and I don't like it. But that's me. That's me. Let's hear the other one.
I've never, like... I've never understood the marketing plan of, like, buy my product by the means of, like, this other thing. Like, if your product is good and, like, I want it, then I'm just gonna want it. You know, like, cards kind of sell themselves kind of thought. I've never understood, like, oh, buy this card and you'll get a free entrance into my break or something. It's like, what? If I want the break, I'll just buy it. You know, I would just go straight for that. I never understood that, but, you know, to each their own, I guess.
Do you have something? No. Okay. Moving on.
You changed my mind. I'm with you.
Good. Welcome. Okay. Northeast Sports Card says, in regards to the 86 Fleer MJ, why have the PSA 10s garnered so much attention? Though I personally prefer PSA, I don't agree how the BGS 9.5 True Gem or True Gem Plus got so far behind. It wasn't that long ago when True Gem Plus BGS prices exceeded that of PSA 10. I know BGS has fallen out of favor recently, but is a BGS 9.5 really only worth 25% of a PSA 10? Shield for BGS, Josh. Go.
It's kind of a boring answer. Like, that's just like what the market dictates. That's, you know, the new entrants, the new pool of people who are after that Fleer Jordan, which is like a pretty, like, I would say, like, surface level collector or investor. Like, they just want the simplicity of the 10, and they don't want to deal with the, like, BGS subgrades, and they're like, this is too much for me. Just give me the 10. Yep.
PSA 10 certain. This question came from Eric Myers.
Respectfully.
No, it did not. Shout out to Eric Myers. Did you know that he works for PWCC?
You know what I love about the show, Chris?
What?
This is also a pun. We don't recycle content with, like, the trash stuff. We just left it there, and we've got a new one this week, and it's respectfully.
Look, we do not play things out.
Respectfully, that's not true. You showed a trash can.
No, we showed a Metaverse we showed a graphic of a trash can. Did you notice I picked a picture of a trash can, like an illustration.
We're phasing it out, though. Like, we're phasing the trash can out, and, like, the respectfully thing will linger, but we'll phase it out, and we'll get something new.
Yeah, dude, we've been through, like, office phases, I watched the entire series at The Office just to be in the know about this show, and I enjoyed it.
That's commitment right there.
That's commitment.
And then we watched Parks and Rec because Josh kept saying it was better.
We did watch Parks and Rec, and I don't know about better, but it was pretty good. Look, I want to answer this question. First of all, PSA 10 is just, there's something very nice about the fixed population of 315 PSA 10s. There's something nice about that. But I would say in this particular situation, if the BGS is that much lower than the PSA 10, the BGS might be approximating the true market demand. And there might be over speculative purchasing driving the PSA 10. If I saw that in a different sector, like if I saw that in the 90s grails that I like to collect of MJ, and the BGS 9.5 was 25% of the PSA 10, immediately, to me, that signifies that, you know, there's not quite as much demand for this card, and there's a sort of an odd demand being, you know, allocated towards the grade, which does work, you know, because even as I think about it, there are probably situations with inserts nowadays where the PSA 10 is like double the 9.5, maybe even more. So I don't know. It's a really interesting question, man. But I think like the question, like, is BGS 9.5 going to catch up anytime soon? I see no trajectory towards that.
Especially for that card.
Yeah. But, you know, dude, shout out to BGS Labs, man. I still consume them all the time. And I think, what's the function of a grading company? It is to assess authenticity and to determine technical condition. And I think the graders at BGS are more than adequate at that job.
And whenever these, like, is my thing undervalued compared to this other thing question comes up, like, people, you know, ask, is Peyton Manning undervalued? And I collect Peyton Manning. Is Tim Duncan undervalued? I always say to that person, you feel like you have conviction over that, you should go harder at it. Stop listening to me. Stop listening to people around me and other people on the internet. You have conviction. Go do that thing.
Well, you know the irony of that? And this is with all due respect to the great Tim Duncan and collectors of similar players to Tim Duncan. The personality type of somebody who would gravitate towards a Tim Duncan is somebody who maybe is going to wait for somebody else to lead. And they're going to wait for somebody else to validate their opinion. You know, Tim Duncan, more of a reserved personality type. Perhaps the type of collector that he attracts is also more reserved, less of a trailblazer style, less of a maverick, renegade style collector who's going to blaze a path. They're going to wait and have somebody else validate it, and then they're going to follow in the wake of that validation. And the irony is that there maybe is a lot of them out there who just are not willing to take the bull by the horns and say, I will be the one who overpays for that first Tim Duncan grail. So, a little psychoanalysis for you guys at midnight Central Time. All right, we have a question from the great card.
How did you not end that with respectfully? You literally went on this huge. That's like
respectfully to all the Tim Duncan collectors out there. No, the opposite of a Rodman collector. That is great. All right. Cards and Candy 911 says, after selling a card for a decent amount of money, what's the first thing you think about doing with that money? Put it into savings, reinvest it, and if reinvesting, are you reinvesting in that same player you just sold, or do you move on to someone else?
I can't remember the last time I sold a card and hadn't already like basically spent that money.
Exactly.
I'm like a fucking drug addict with that, you know?
Yes.
Spend the money I don't have with cards I sold in the future.
What is this, selling cards? I haven't even heard of this. So how does that work?
Yeah.
Selling a card.
What was the second part of it, though? I feel like we should give some time to the second, like the...
If you are the second part of it is like, if you are reinvesting it into other cards, are you going to go to the same player, or are you going to move on?
Well, I mean, like, you know, when I sold the LeBron RPA, I bought a lot of Chris Paul and like Pokemon stuff. So I would say like maybe spread it out. Like you clearly have like some sort of reason for selling that player. And I don't know that and unless you're like just moving into a more rare card because you're a collector and that's just what you're doing. But if you're thinking about it in terms of the spirit of the question, maybe like spread it around a little bit.
Oh, totally. Yes. And look, in Cardboard Veritas nails it. As soon as I get any cash from any source, I think about what cards I can buy with it.
Dude, so I texted you a couple weeks ago. I got my tax return and it was like, I'm going to owe money. And then I got some good news that I'm actually going to get money instead of owing money. And I'm like, dude, that's just like this card that I'm buying just got a lot better.
Oh, that's so true. That's the best, man. God,
wait, you're getting money back this tax return?
It does, CJ. Yeah, he's getting money back. It's called a refund, Christina.
Some people overpay their taxes.
Some people do overpay their taxes. Whoa! All right, let's go. Sports Cards 1532. Please discuss hacked eBay accounts listing hundreds of prior auctions.
Dude, is it the same cards every time?
It seems to be.
That is so fucking annoying because like how I know there's so many? Because like I have very, very specific saved searches and it's like 100 cards come up in my feed of fake listings. I'm like, how many other cards am I not seeing that come up? It's so fucking annoying.
Yeah. It's a save search killer. They always get snuffed out eventually by eBay.
It's happening about like once every other day at this point. It's
yeah, it is. It's such a stupid scam. I can't imagine that it works.
Man, it has to be working or they would stop, right?
It would work in the metaverse, respectfully. Maybe.
God, dude, fraud is just rampant. But Bill Simmons and Ruben talked. I don't know if you have a question about that interview, but they were talking about NFTs, and Simmons like cut Ruben off, and he's like, I don't feel good about NFTs. There's so much fraud. Like it's so risky. I don't like it.
Simmons is out on NFTs, which is great. He's so out on them. He's like, I thought VR was going to be dumb, and it was. I predicted several of these pop culture flame outs, and he's like, NFTs, not for me. I didn't even get that far in the interview, though. I need to listen to the rest of it. I almost skipped that episode because it was a John Morant pump piece.
In Spotify, you can literally click on the little time thing, and it skips you ahead.
That's nice. Must be nice being in the Android world. Okay.
What? No, it's not. I'm on my laptop.
Spotify is an app that you can download even on an Apple product.
But I use I'm using the native Apple app. It would be disrespectful to use a different podcast software on Apple. I use Apple Podcasts.
That's such an Apple thing to say. Like, oh,
look, no. Apple users we're on our own level.
Which is funny because Josh, because he has two Dell PCs.
Look,
and
check out my brand loyalty.
When I first met him, he didn't even have an iPhone.
Asus.
Yeah.
I'm not an Apple guy. Respectfully.
Just let me control all of your technology decisions going forward. That will be nice.
I'd be happy to.
You own like the opposite of everything I own.
Well, look, let's get me up to speed here. What do we have to do?
Well, I mean, respectfully, like everyone doesn't like that I choose Android, but I just like to go to the beat of my own drum.
Spurs Cards 21 says, is spending more time in the hobby a good or a bad thing? More time in one thing means less time in another.
Well, I have children, so it's tougher for me.
Careful.
I know. I'm trying to be careful, respectfully. I don't know, man. Like, as I get older, dude, like the thing that I've realized and gotten smarter about is like I only want to do stuff that I like, and I'll just like completely block out everything else. So that means that I just spend way more time on the stuff I like.
There you go, Spurs Cards 20. What did you think? You think we were going to come out and say, yeah, spending more time in the hobby? Not for us.
Dude, it's like pretty gross how much time I spend.
Respectfully, all right? WC Cards, man. Interested in your thoughts on the high end going up and the low end going down, and whether it's the same for rare versus common cards. Do you think there's a place for common cards as part of the Instagram hobby? Could that be part of the problem with common cards, is that there isn't a place for them?
This kind of feels like that Tim Duncan question. Yeah, I mean, like, I'll ask it a different way. Like, do you think that, like, the base PSA 10 stuff is, like, due for a rebound of sorts?
No.
There you go.
No. It's too much of it. Way too much of it. Although Joe Burrow, his base PSA 10 went from like $300 to $600, right back down to $300 again.
I just go back to, like, do people want to own that thing? Because it's like, you know, in my head, I'm like, I'm really conscious of saying the word like now, and I just said it like twice. So thanks a lot, Chris.
Me? How did I do this?
You know, people that say like too much. I was thinking, you know, maybe like base cards have been disrespected for the last year for too long, and I should look into it. And then I go look and like, nah, God, it's so boring. I can't do it. You know, I actually like don't want it. I actively do not want to own it, and so therefore, a lot of people feel that way, and it will never be a thing again.
Yeah, it's tough to stand out in the Instagram crowd flexing a base PSA 10. That had like a cadence to it. It was almost like a poem or something. And, you know, that's that. You like, look, like, dude, when you can get like a 1-of-1 of like Joe Montana from like a decent mid-end product for the same price as like a Joe Burrow base rookie PSA 10, dude, that Joe Montana flex is gonna be more badass. Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably so you think that that sort of like little window where that was a thing, the base PSA 10 is just like a one-hit wonder and it's never coming back?
No, I think it's still a very important part of the hobby, but they're never going to become $2,000-$3,000 cards again, like they once did for some of the prospects. So that's, but they still matter. I think they're still important. They're the commodity card of choice, and they will matter if the hobby explodes in size suddenly. Those are going to be the cards that people flock to, and probably will produce, you know, a massive run up in them, which we've seen happen twice in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, low end can't keep going down forever. Eventually, it finds its floor. I think. I don't know. Maybe you'll have to start paying people to take your low end cards from me, respectfully.
Is there such thing as fractions of a penny? I don't think so. So like
Look, there's the floor. It can't get worse from there. You know.
We have some cards in Card Ladder that are 1 penny.
Yeah, we do. Like Raws, yeah. Sometimes
Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Remember that Clyde Edwards-Helaire card?
Yeah, his Donruss rookie card.
I think it's like a penny now.
Yeah, it probably is. Cardboard Insight says, if an entire print run of a card has a manufacturing quirk, should it affect grading across the entire population? So, for example, if all cards have the same slightly off-centered nature, or like the OPC Gretzky where there are rough edges, is it all about accurate, or I'm all about accurate grading, but should the standard for grading be based on the best a particular card can be, or based on an idealized version of what any card can be?
So it's like a bell curve versus. No, I don't. I think the way that it is now is the correct way. I think you got to compare the cards against each other. I don't think you want to get to that Pandora's box there. That sounds really gross.
And it sounds difficult to enforce. So, like, as a grading company, what you have to wait until you see 100 copies of a card before you can know what the variance is in the condition. I just don't think that's going to happen, respectfully. So I think we want an objective standard that applies to all cards. And, like, if this card is a PSA 4, like, it's a true 4. It's not a 4 for that particular copy.
The other one that comes to mind is the 2008 Topps Chrome Russell Westbrook. I think the refractor PSA 10 of his rookie card is like a pop 4 because they're all off-centered, like every single one. And it's like, do you really want to give a PSA 10 to a bunch of off-centered cards? No. That's silly.
Correct.
Are they centered, or was that the design?
I'm not sure. It was some sort of like printing issue. You should look at it. Just like search that card on eBay. Literally every single one is off centered. I actually, Andy, she blinded me with what's his name?
Yeah,
She blinded me with refractor. He owns a PSA 10 Westbrook refractor, and it's like centered. And so he now owns this, like, to me, this piece of history. It's like, oh my gosh, you have, like, his is basically the off-centered one, you know?
Yeah, right. Interesting. Yeah, no. Yeah. All right. Weekly dose of PMG questions, which have been on the mind lately.
What's the next PMG?
Yeah, somebody did ask that. Ironically. Super Collecting says, your weekly PMG question. What other cards achieve the same level of technology as the PMGs? I know Pokemon has etched holofoils, for example, but they're not the same.
We're not talking about just etched holofoil. We're talking about like a similar thing where like a card has achieved technology advance.
Yeah, it's just the same level of technology.
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm just like, jersey autograph cards. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. I can tell you this, in my opinion, there's never been another set of cards to look like the reds and the greens, for better or worse. But if we're talking PMGs as a whole, then that includes PMG Championship, that includes the 98-99 PMG Championship, and like lots of cards employed that refractor technology on paper stock. The rubies, you had cool inserts like Platinum Portraits, you had the lenticular finish on cards like Noise Boys and Jambalaya. Like there's lots of cool technology that was used in the 90s to great effect. It wasn't corny. It was well done.
Yeah. I'm just not sure there's much like more room for technology advances in, pieces of paper.
Right.
Yeah. Let me just say that if you're thinking the answer to this question is kabooms, you need to see a mental health professional, respectfully.
Nobody even brought kabooms into this. You own a kaboom now, by the way, too. So
they were thinking it, though.
And I've sought help from a mental health professional for your issue with buying a kaboom.
Yours is not dumb. There's just that green one. At least it's a 101, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it is a 1-of-1. All right, Card Collecting 82 says, when did the original PMGs take off in hobby stature? Was the Harabi arc of PMGs turbocharged by just a few major collectors?
Definitely was. It was. The PMGs, I mean, I'm mostly like just gathering this from what I've read, but like they weren't the top dog at the time always. Like that sort of like evolved over time.
What was? It was the fucking Golden Boss Refractor was the top dog at release.
You know what I keep thinking of when this topic comes up? When you were talking about, gosh, I'm embarrassed, but I forget what show asked us this. Like, oh, what if we added 100 Giannis collectors? And like you just like were like, dude, 100 Giannis collectors? If 100 people started posting to Instagram their Giannis collections, and like, can you even like imagine the amount of influence you would have? And the reason I bring that up is like, it just takes like 5 or 6 people who are like, dude, I super collect PMGs now, and I freaking think they're amazing. And like a couple other people see that and they get excited, and it doesn't take much.
It doesn't take much. And there's levels to this as well. So the PMGs had what was thought of at the time, but I wasn't involved in the hobby at the time, in the early 2010s, an inorganic run-up that happened on some forums and stuff like that involved certain people who are still in the hobby. But like we were talking about a run-up of like the card going from like $1,000 to like 10 or something in that range. From the time I came into the hobby until today, I've seen PMGs so like from 2016 until 2022, I've seen PMGs increase 15, 20, 25 fold in that span once again as well. And as far as I could tell, there was nothing inorganic about it. So you can have a mixed bag. You can have cards like PMGs, which have, on the one hand, a history of manipulation, and then also a history of organic demand. both things can happen.
Yep. We're going to find out what happens with this front on the Marvel PMG side. Like,
Right.
you know, they've gone exponentially up in value, even more than what you're talking about with basketball from, you know, when we came in. Is it going to hold up? It probably wasn't organic to start, but is it going to become a mainstay? Like, are people going to continue to collect it, or is it just going to be a, you know, pump and dump thing?
Indeed. Upstate Sports Card says, will there be a paper copy of Card Ladder like Beckett Magazine? Maybe a physical paper copy and a digital version with 20 cards in each sport, articles from hobby pioneers, upcoming shows, product releases, etc.
Nah.
No, we're going in the metaverse.
we're going to the other direction.
Jesus Christ.
My answer to him in the comments was, if there's somebody out there who wants to spearhead that and comes up with a great business plan for it and a way to execute it, we'd listen to it. How about that?
This is the, like, you know, another opportunity for me to say for the millionth time, you know, the ideas are great, but like someone has to execute the idea. And, you know, if you, like, this team is very quick to be self-aware to say, like, I would not execute that. I'm not going to attempt to start. Like, I'm just, you know, I'm going to stop before I even start because I know I'm not going to do it. I don't have the passion to do it. I don't have the desire. No.
Indeed. Exactly. So, like, the point of that is, like, if somebody wants to do that, they are going to be the ones who do it.
Exactly.
And we're going to have expectations that there's going to be a lot of consistency. It's a long-term plan, a very high level of reliability, you know, on and on and on. So
the second there's like any sort of like waffling of like, oh, this week, no, you're out, done.
Right.
Super collecting.
Yeah, I saw that. All right. Dillick Cards. He had sent in this question twice, so I'm glad we get to it this week.
Nice.
Dealing with data and numbers every single day, do you guys still get impressed with high card values, or is it just another day at the office? Do you have a card sale that has impressed you or that sticks out the most?
You answer that question, dude.
High card sales are cool, but the ones that stay with me the most are those periods of time when the hobby pretty much universally was reeling and was, you know, experiencing hobby-wide corrections. Like the one that most vividly sticks out to me was, well, two of them really, like the fall of 2020 after that crazy bubble run-up where pretty much everything came down about 15% or so, it felt like, across the board. And then when stuff just goes down and down and down, and every night you're looking at sales and they're lower and lower and lower, you know, you just start feeling like, man, is this ever going to end? And of course it does. And then the second time was after that run up in February, March, and April of 2021, you know, when that run up stopped and then stuff started ticking down again. Those are the most memorable times for me when things are going bad. So most memorable big time sales, probably that Brady Contenders 1010, which went for like close to $3 million. That was a crazy sale. The Jordan Fleer PSA 10s going for $720K, and then
Yeah, that was big.
and then most recently that Kobe Green going for $2 million.
One of mine is we had someone reach out to us over a Mahomes sale.
Oh yes,
And the graphic we used, like the sale we used in the purchase and the sale were both him.
Yep. Guy had a gold Mahomes NT RPA BGS 9.5. He bought it for like $10,000. He sold it for like $1.1 million. And we highlighted it, and he said, "This is cool. This was me."
And he like sent that picture to a printing company, and he has it hanging on his wall.
Got it.
That's cool.
That is
Yeah.
cool. All right, as we wrap up here, Card Shop Dad says, "Do more users use the Card Ladder app or the desktop version? What do you think?"
It's definitely the app.
Yep, that's what the polls produced as well. It was about 2-1 people using the app versus desktop.
I use the web way more often than I use the app.
Me too.
I'm more of a laptop guy. I really like my laptop. I like to do things on the laptop.
Yeah, me too. Enjoy Cards 13 said, "Will Card Ladder users one day have the ability to create their own custom shareable indices?"
Fuck you.
I just read the questions that are put in front of me. All right.
Yeah. This is like your way of getting what you want out of the product.
I can't help what these people ask.
No, that's a good question, man. I've even envisioned like an index page similar to Dashboard where like you can build out your own custom indices and like keep tabs on them daily and stuff. That would be super awesome. I'm just it's like a pretty difficult technical challenge because the index is pretty damn complicated, and to give away that sort of computing power over to to X is a little bit scary when like us controlling the thousands of indices we do have is like I can wrap my mind around it, but like it's different than Showcase. Showcase, we give it to the users, it kind of like they just make their own world out of it, but with indices the computation power is a lot more scary to me.
Yep. N number of X's. Okay. Yep. Thanks for bringing back the live mail day. Talk about the live mail day, the lost art of the live mail day. I've never done one. I'm way too scared. I'm so timid to do one.
No, we didn't.
It is weird, man. Like, sorry, what?
No, we didn't do one. Go ahead.
No, it's I've always done them. I just it is weird though because on the crossover there is some sort of like sense of safety on this show. Like there's a normalcy to it. We've done it a lot, and the live is a little bit weird, awkward, and you got to get past it. But I don't know, dude. Like I'm not gonna change the content I make. I'm not gonna change who I am and the way I collect and the cards I collect. And so I don't really think about it in terms of like, oh, I'm making a statement. I just do them. I just like it.
Yeah, they're fun. They are fun, but it's a certain type of collector who does them. It's the guy who's willing to plan it out and to like make a commitment to it, and to like it's more of the careful, slow, methodical person who has the discipline to execute the live mail day.
I watched this is totally random tangent, but I'll bring it back and you'll enjoy this. I watched an interview with Ryan Russillo and Dirk Nowitzki, and Dirk was just like very open about how like tough things were for him when he was seen as like someone who can't win the big game. And like after the 2007 season when they got knocked out by the Warriors, it really devastated him. And he was like fully aware that like the Heat, when they beat the Heat were like the far superior team talent wise. And like they caught them at a good time when they were still working through their like chemistry issues. But he's like, you know what? Me winning that championship made me feel so good about myself. Like it validated me. Like people were nice to me, and like they were calling me a champion. He's like, dude, it was amazing. It was a great feeling. I just wish more people would think about life that way. It's like, dude, celebrate like your accomplishments and things you do, and like be willing to brag about yourself. Because, dude, if you don't, nobody else will. So I thought that was just like a really neat thing to hear Dirk talk about, because you just don't hear athletes talk about that very much. They're always like, oh, I got to get the next championship, or I got to like, I got to be humble or whatever. And it was just kind of neat to hear someone who clearly went through like some mental distress in his life to be like, dude, I fucking won the championship. It was amazing. And people loved me, and I liked that.
Yeah, it couldn't have happened to a better guy as well. Okay. Oh, this is an interesting question. I'm just trying to pick out like two or three more. YTM Cards says, what is your non-baseball fan opinions on the current MLB situation?
Do you?
But no, he wants our non-baseball fans' opinion on it.
Yeah.
People who are not following it, what do we think about it?
I'm nervous to tell you my honest answer, because I said it to you the other day, and it might not be well received.
Just say respectfully before and after it.
I'll say it. I know what Josh is. I'll say it because I have the same one. I do not care.
No, I just mine might even be more like dastardly than that. Like it kind of, I don't know. Baseball needs a kick in the butt. I'll say that. Like baseball like is way too stuck in their ways, and the people in charge of it, the leadership of it, are just like way behind the times. And like I'm almost like rooting for this to be a total shit show so that someone changes something, because like, dude, I have zero interest in watching baseball because I feel like part of me feels like baseball is just way too stuck up and like in their ways of like, oh, baseball needs to be this very specific thing, and it's got like. I think they need to open things up, and this might be the kick in the butt that they need.
Wow, I think that's a cool take, man. My take on that, on baseball, is that like you guys are worried way too much about nothing. There's been lockouts before. This will probably get resolved, but even if it doesn't, baseball is going to be back the year after that. Like, because I'm detached from it, I'm able to see the longer term arc and just like, this too shall pass. And I get it. It's dramatic. And like, I would be shitting my pants if the NBA season was on the brink of being delayed or canceled, but this too shall pass. And it will, that's my take on the current MLB situation. I get why it's dramatic and annoying and bad, but like, guys are going to play professional baseball again sooner than later.
I'm hoping something comes out of it positive where it's like, dude, you guys are literally, nobody's listening to the fans. It's like, nobody asked for this. This isn't a product that we want. You know, this argument isn't what we want. We're asking for like the game to be sped up. We're asking for like these specific things, and you guys are arguing about something that's not even related to that. I don't know. Maybe, like, I just wish some of these organizations and leaders would just like listen to the customers. Like, what do you guys want? I don't know.
I mean, I think that's too smart of an ask, Dra.
I know. Well, I'm just a dreamer, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah.
By the way, like, we actually kind of did just have a sort. Remember, in 2020, NBA got suspended in March and didn't resume until August. Like,
yep.
There are stoppages in play. They do happen from time to time for various reasons. Like,
I mean,
we move on.
If you think about it, like, stoppages in play for all sports led to a hobby boom. So maybe a stop of baseball will lead to people craving baseball and then turning to cards.
Not a bad theory, respectfully.
I heard a really interesting take on my local sports radio. They were talking about, like, why do these companies keep trying to take shares away from the NFL with like XFL and CFL, and there was another one. Someone was like, why don't they make like a competitor to MLB? Because the whole thing about MLB is like their stars aren't marketed, so like we don't need to have stars. We could just like make our own baseball league, and there's tons and tons of minor leaguers and like AAA, AA. There's tons of supply, as it were, for like the players. And people want to see the game change. Like, why doesn't someone create a competitor to MLB? It would be much more viable. It would be, you know, higher likelihood of success because, you know, all the reasons I just stated. I don't know. Maybe it was kind of an interesting take of like, yeah, why isn't there like a faster version of the MLB? It's at the very least to like, again, put a kick in the butt of MLB.
It's interesting. It's scary because the competitors to the NFL aren't changing anything fundamental about this sport. But this is proposing to introduce like fundamentally a different sport.
Well, no, I mean, no, I'm not saying a fundamental change the sport. I think you just gotta like speed some of the stuff up, and some of the rule proposals for it were to actually make it more traditional. Like, don't let people take the starter out before the fifth inning, and like you can't have, you know, 3 people pitch the ninth inning. Like, it was actually to reverse some of this like analytics craziness of the baseball that's kind of removed it from the nostalgic tradition of it, and like force rules to make it more traditional. So to counter your point there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Yeah, it's a great
like no shift. You can't have a shift. You know, stuff like that.
No, everybody wants to copy the hot thing, and instead they're overlooking an opportunity that's right underneath their noses. Inventing a competing baseball league also. Dude, baseball makes so much money, and the athletes in baseball make so much money, and it's the lowest contact sport of the pro sports. Like, there's a lot of reasons to recommend giving that a whirl. And, dude, it would probably be more intriguing than somebody like why are people trying to fix the NFL? That product doesn't need fixing.
Can I give you another example of like why as a sports fan, I do not understand why Barry Bonds isn't like a celebrated person. He's like, I mean, okay, so I get that like he's not super popular with the media and stuff. The NBA has so many examples of that where we celebrate that person and we hold them up, and Barry Bonds is like statistically the best baseball player of all time, and he's not even in the Hall of Fame because of some like staunchy rule when everyone in that whole era did steroid. It just seems like that kind of is an example to me of like, come on, baseball, catch up.
Or
Nice.
mustard.
That was we got more squeeze from the fruit of baseball than I expected.
I know some stuff about baseball.
Nice. Did you play?
No, never. I'm horrible. Actually, like, someone asked me to help with like a company softball team once. I was like, you don't want that. They're like, literally, we need you. And they put me in the outfield. First ball comes my way and it just goes right over my head. I told you.
Okay, nice.
Company basketball, different story.
Basketball. Baloncesto. All right, are we complete here? Has this show run its course? I don't know why there's still 76 people on right now.
Because we're still going strong in content. We're not talking about pizza.
That was a thing for a while too, wasn't it? Our pizza moments. Well, all right, let's give it one or two more questions. Now I've got down to the barrage of card ladder questions.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. So, mostly nice basketball card. Oh no, not that one. That's not the right question for right now.
Hour 5 question.
Chrissy Bucket says card ladder sales history is a total game changer, but with different cards contributing to each player's overall index via the official ladder cards that are verified, such as Morant has 268 and Lillard has 59. I often find it hard to compare players' indexes against each other, and is there a plan to address this? Says Chrissy Buckets.
This is just Buckets' way of saying
Put more Lillard cards in?
put more Lillard
Well,
cards.
what I told Buckets was just maybe just don't compare them then, bud, because it's not comparable. Those indexes are different, but they're not as different as it might seem. Generally speaking, the trend for one card is going to be pretty similar to the trend for another card for a player, with some exceptions among the high, the mid, and the low end. But look, we just completed training 5 researchers last month, and they're at the proficiency level, but not quite at the mastery level yet. So there's going to be a probationary period where we continue to, inculcate them in the methods of card ladder research. But like, we're going to be scaling up the database of verified cards next month. You're going to see it starting next week. You're going to see larger and larger quantities of cards being approved into the database every day.
Cardi C already noticed.
Yeah, so it is that is en route.
I'm very happy to hear that our users have caught on to the fact that we are shifting towards a focus of building out indexes versus building out, every card or whatever. And I like that. Like, the focus should be, I wish the Damian Lillard index was more filled out than I wish you had this random Damian Lillard card, right? Like, the focus needs to be more about the indices and filling out. And so and if that's the focus, to where I would love to have 1,000 card Damian Lillard index, it allows us to not have to be focused on adding every Damian Lillard card ever, and more focused on, like, we need to build a strong 1,000 card baseline for all Damian Lillard cards. You know what I mean?
I love that as well. That's exactly what I like too. That's great. Great take. Great take, Chrissy Buckets, as interpreted by Josh. Kevin M. Cormier. Or is it Cormier? Damn, he messaged me and told me and I forgot. Using Ja Morant as an example, the card ladder value of his Prism out of 199 is 13 times the value of his Select out of 199. Which one is wrong? Blue Prism too high or Red Select too low?
I've always thought those, like, Prism random numbers are way too high, so that's my answer.
There you go, Kevin. There you go. All right. GV Sports Card says, since the uploading of a card, voting, and then adding that card to card ladder seems it will become a thing of the past. Will you guys add cards by the amount of a certain card being added by us to our ladders via the sales history tool instead?
Ooh.
Is there a threshold of how many times it needs to be added to make the ladder? If so, what do you think about that idea?
Well, I think, first of all, I do not snoop on collectors' cards. I know that's like a really low-hanging fruit of like something we could do. I just have steered away from it actively. I don't feel comfortable like snooping on the volume at which cards are into our database. It feels like a violation of privacy.
Agreed. We don't look at anybody's collection ever. But here's a compromise. What if a compromise is, we look at if there's a high incidence of the same card in showcase, meaning that the collector made it publicly available on their own.
100%. 100%.
There's a decent compromise. Cool idea, GV Sports Cards. But also part of that answer, too, is like, no, we are going to be relying on the submissions feature actually probably more than ever to help guide and give assignments to our researchers. So that as well.
It doesn't seem like most companies are going towards this like AI thing of like, let's just gather all the data. Who cares if, the customer is not giving us this data willingly? And it just keeps happening more and more. And I just feel like I would love to stand up for everybody and say like, that's ridiculous. If you give us your data, you're obviously like trusting us to not fucking sell it to someone else or snoop on it.
Agreed. Completely and utterly agree with that. Ryan Bitter says, card ladder caught Mahomes Prism shilling. Is there any general commentary on the issue?
Dude, go for it, man. You had a great story or post about it, or post.
Yeah, I think the post said it all. It was a sophisticated level of shilling. We didn't catch it at first. It was one of our great members who told us about it. The shilling was like keeping the card priced at about $1,500 higher than its true market value. But we've got a lot of different ways that are discussed in that post about the way we suss out what are true sales and what aren't. And in this case, it was incredibly easy. And it's nothing new that there are cards that get propped up like this. Last year, ironically, it was John Marantz whose cards were being manipulated en masse. And the great, great irony of that is you guys put the cart before the horse. You didn't even need to manipulate them if you just would have had the patience to hold those fucking cards respectfully.
How much of an advantage do we have with our system of vetting cards, just given the fact that like we're so entrenched in the hobby and like we know like this stuff is like so second nature to us. Like, oh yeah, I see why it's shilled. I understand like the Mahomes market, given like what happened to him in the season. We know about his cards. Like, it's the silver. There's no base. Like, we just know all the facts about that card, and it's just like, yeah, it's easy. How much of an advantage do we have?
So much, and it's amazing the way the incentives lined up to incentivize myself, Christina, yourself, Cole, and Nick to build a company that in part is centered around data accuracy for us to be able to turn that into a viable business, obviously with the support of the hobby community, and then for us to transition that business into part of the larger framework of the hobby via Collectors Universe. For all those incentives to line up to make it desirable for us to perform that service with the level of expertise that we have, not to toot our own horn too much here, but the fact that it is people with our skill sets, our experience in the hobby, and the incentives lined up for us to build that business is a boon for the hobby. It's a boon for us. It's really fortunate, I think, that it worked out that way. And I do shudder to think about what the data landscape looks like if we weren't busting our asses trying to keep a close eye on it.
Yeah, that was going to be my last point. Like, where would this shit be? I mean, doesn't it make you think when you make purchases in your life outside of cards, do you think about that more now that you've built this business of like,
yeah,
dude,
who the hell is like watching this stuff? Who's monitoring this market?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I had that thought the other day when like I was looking at like what something costs, and I was like, why is this the cost of this product? Like who decided that this was going to be the cost?
Does that happen to you as well, Josh?
Well, yeah, you guys took it a fun route, which I enjoyed hearing. I was kind of thinking more in terms of like, I buy products from businesses who are like entrenched in that industry versus like, the corporate boobs of someone trying to like mass produce some garbage.
Dude, yeah, I love that take as well.
Food is an easy one. Like food is an easy example. Like I'm not.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to buy like Domino's pizza. I'm trying to like find the person who's like mastered the craft of making a pizza, and they happen to have a restaurant. You know what I mean?
Totally. Going back to the interpretation that Christina was giving, I like that one too, and I do feel that way as well. Empathizing more with people who are in a similar position to us, but in different industries. But also looking at real estate prices is hilarious to me because I'm like, how does this shit work?
The estimate?
That's what I was talking about.
The fucking Zestimate.
Yeah.
And I looked into like the methodology of it, and they're like, "Oh, this is so accurate," and then I watch how they calculate it, and the way that they calculate it is they wait until it gets listed, and then they build the Zestimates around the listing price. So and obviously there's a strong incentive in real estate to list something at a price that's going to sell. It's not like the hobby where people just throw up cards for 10x their market value all the time and just want to show off the card and don't care. So I was like, this is weird. And then you read about some of like the manipulations that take place in that market, like companies like Zillow buying billions of dollars worth of houses, like using their Zestimates and stuff. Like, I'm no expert on it, but I just remember thinking to myself, like, I have more confidence in the value of a card than I do in the value of pieces of property.
That's fucking scary, dude. Because real estate, like, has long been seen as like the foundation of like American finances and how America like values things is like, oh, what's the real estate market doing? That's scary to hear. I mean, obviously we had the 2008 situation with like the housing market being the driving force of the crash. So like we've seen it before, but it's like happening again kind of thing. Ugh.
Yeah, dude, I can't, like, look, it's the hypocrisy is not lost on me that being in an industry that has $1 million pieces of cardboard, and then I'm gonna say houses are too damn high. But looking at the prices of houses, to me, is shocking. It is shocking. Go on Zillow one day and just look at the value, the asking prices of coastal beachfront property in Southern California, and you will vomit. You will absolutely vomit. And you're just, how are there thousands and thousands and thousands of people who own these properties that are worth $80 bazillion each? There are a lot. Dude, like, it's something that's
normal.
Respectfully,
normal ass houses in the middle of my state are like, like $700,000. I'm like, who the fuck is paying for this stuff?
Who can afford this? I know.
Like
we're definitely living in a debt society.
We're a what? Debt society?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're totally right about that. Oh God, it's like.
Yeah, but a Kobe PMG green for $2 million is cheap.
You'd rather have a Kobe PMG green than a big ass house?
Yes. Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
I mean, dude, you should watch the Netflix documentary Minimalists. It totally like throws dirt at the wind of like buying a giant house for no reason. It's a really interesting documentary because it's like, do you really need that much space? It's like you're just a physical person living in this little world. Like you just, you need your kitchen or whatever. Like we love the modern niceties of a bathroom and a kitchen, and hardwood floors. But like, do you really need like a 4,000 square foot house for 4 fucking people?
All that space is terrifying. That space terrifies me. I worry about who is in these other rooms.
Oh my God, stop. Why would you even see something like that?
I just do.
Oh my God. We're gonna end up buying like a tiny house.
A micro house.
They're called tiny houses. We're gonna end up buying a tiny house because Chris just scared the bejesus out of me that people are gonna be living in our house if it's too big.
I do. I need to know where. I need to be able to quickly assess the entire situation.
Do you think my house is too big? You guys have seen my house. It's like, to me, it's like I don't want any bigger. You know, it's like
your house would creep me out if it had a full blown basement. Then I think it's overkill.
There's no such thing as basements in Arizona.
Right. Exactly.
But it's like, I've got the office, and then the perfect amount of bedrooms for people that live here. It's just, I can't imagine more.
South Park goes, have you ever opened a door before a stranger is living in your house? No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. That's not the point.
Now I'm scared of it. Like,
it's not just like somebody just like is living with you and you don't know. An unknown roommate.
You're like, you've seen like TV shows and movies?
Actually, that did happen to Chris. It was in college, and it was me.
Yeah, Christina just suddenly she's living here.
You've seen like movies and shows where it's like, oh, this is my fucking scrapbooking room, or this is my like workout room, and it's like, what? Can't you just like scrapbook in your office? I don't. It seems insane, but okay.
Yeah, it can get excessive. It can definitely get excessive.
That's when Christina said this is a debt society, like America just loves the excess stuff.
Well, what's going on with the if and when the metaverse comes to pass, all these big extravagant houses. What a waste.
Gotta hate you.
Maybe this is my whole thing with the like metaverse.
Can you wait to buy a McDonald's fake metaverse meal for $20? And then a chip in your head tells you it tastes good.
Well, unless you're hooked up to an IV, you're still going to need fluids and food. So, like, how is this going to work? Or, like, Matrix in the back of your head. But, yeah. But, my whole thing with the metaverse is, and I didn't know it was real, so I was talking into the future. Like, when people ask me, I'm always like, yes, I highly suggest you go and invest in it, go enjoy it, go live there for forever. And when I go to the national park, there will be no one there because you're sitting in your room on goggles and I'm living in the real fucking world. And, like, you go have fun. You do you, playa, and I will be enjoying
nature. Got it. Christina
alone.
Can't wait to get rid of everybody.
Yeah.
Into the metaverse.
Yeah. She's like, oh, was there a fucking zombie apocalypse? No, everyone's in the metaverse, and I'm alone now. This is fantastic.
And I'm happy.
Do you think I could be an NBA player in the metaverse?
Why not? I think you could be the GOAT.
I just want to, like, dunk all over Rudy Gobert in the metaverse.
Hey, Josh, in the metaverse, like, can you make a LeBron best friend?
All right, well, see, now you got some, like, pretty decent sales pitches for the metaverse.
There you go.
You could be his teammate. You could go 10 for 10 in the titles.
Look what Zane just said.
I know, I saw.
He was like, some guy with goggles in there. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, hey, don't worry about me. I'm just in the metaverse.
Plug it in.
Do you watch Black Mirror?
No.
Probably should start watching Black Mirror.
Why? Is it about the metaverse?
You're like, why? Are you going to give me some bullshit? No, it's about like hypothetical future potential situations in society. If
yeah.
If like the extreme got reached in certain aspects of society. There's a couple about the metaverse. Well, it's not really the metaverse, but it's more like, you know, what if people lived in their rooms and they had screens all over their room kind of thing. One of them was like, if you had a chip implanted and it like recorded everything, like you're basically just like you're eyes or a camera. It explains like a guy getting, caught cheating on his wife because he has this and stuff like that. It's interesting. And then there's one where it's like a scoring system, like a social scoring system that follows you around and like how that would affect your life. Which I think they actually have something like that in China or something. I think I read, maybe. I'm not sure. Yeah, the first episode's weird. It gets better though. It's a pretty good show, actually. I think I've seen them all.
I do need a new show.
Oh yes, I remember now that Nick. Yes, yes. Oh my God, yeah, gross. Yeah, no, thank you. Never again.
That's the only one like that. Each episode is its own like mini show or movie. Like each one is totally different actors and everything. So like you can't really judge the show off of one episode.
All right. Well, that's 3 hours of content for free for all of you Metaverse supporters out there.
People, if the Metaverse is real, they could like be in the crossover with us.
We don't want that.
That's what someone said. They said that they want a Metaverse.
Yeah, I do not want them in this basement office with us.
Yeah.
You said that. You're the one that brought up like random people being in rooms of your home, so like there you go.
I don't want it.
I'm gonna have like nightmares. Like why would you say that?
I feel like I've said that before.
You should be the guy that's like picketing outside of Congress when like Mark Zuckerberg is there, and you're just like, corporations boo, like Metaverse, fuck off.
These card sales can wait. We need to stop the Metaverse.
I've loved watching Zuckerberg try to explain it and like how disingenuous he is. Like he clearly doesn't give a shit about the Metaverse. It's just like a profit thing. He's just like, people are gonna love this. Shut up.
I can't believe anybody takes this idea seriously. Can't wait to be right about this.
That's gonna take years, dude. People are gonna hang on to this for so long.
Also, there are like some situations where Metaverse style things make sense, like if they can assist people in the quality of their life somehow.
Yes, medically.
Yes. That's it though.
People that like medical reasons, like you can't walk anymore, and I would love to travel, and I can't because I can't move.
Yeah. Yep. Those are the good use cases that we don't want to overlook.
I feel like if we had just focused on like solving health issues, though, that would be a better option than building a metaverse for the people.
And is there even enough competence in the layers of bureaucracy at Facebook to successfully execute the metaverse, even if it was a good idea?
Well, I mean, they found out that girls were killing themselves due to bullying, and they were like, yeah, let's just, like, suppress this study and not tell anyone that this is happening and let this stuff happen.
That was their
solution.
Also said, like, if they kill themselves in the metaverse, they're still here, actually.
Well, also, like, they've also been like, here at Facebook, we've never intended for that to happen. We know that, like, AI has gotten away from us, but, just, like, stop clicking on that stuff. What the fuck? You guys, like, actively developed artificial intelligence to, like, get into our brains of our children, and they're killing themselves at a higher rate, and your reasoning is, like, don't do it? Shut the fuck up.
Nick said, I'll join the Winklevoss metaverse. I think you mean the Winkleverse. And I'll give that one a spin.
Give us a live look at the future metaverse. Let's hit an old classic here one more time before we sign off.
All right. I just don't want to be accused of pumping the metaverse.
You said that you bought the goggles. They're on their way. And give us a sneak peek of what your life's going to be like when you get those goggles.
Well, this is... Thank you. I think I can handle this. Metaverse, Christina. I just turned off Christina in my metaverse. Boop.
Genius.
You can finish work then.
We found a use case.
Stop. I set you to work. All right, we're going to have a live...
Found a use case. turning people off.
You know, I can come around to this. All right, we're gonna have a live look to conclude the show at the Metaverse. For those who aren't familiar with what it is, this is pretty much what you see when you put on the Oculus headset. This is what I've been looking at every time I've experimented with
It's like a cartoon drawing. I love that you did a cartoon drawing.
Of course,
It's so
it's
smart.
the Metaverse.
Yeah, it can't be like a real, actual like trash can. It's fucking. Dude, there's literally like 5 things in that trash can.
It's not a very efficient trash can, but
No, and like the one on the left, they haven't even touched it. What is that? Like a
brand
fucking
new orange
Apple.
or apple.
and a full head of lettuce. Like what?
Dude, like
A bone,
they're greedy in the Metaverse.
a dog bone, like a perfectly shaped. It looks like a femur, like a freaking.
That's why they're disposing of human remains in this trash can.
It's someone's like femur bone in their leg. It's like.
All right, the Metaverse episode. See you guys
Good.
next week.
Good night.
Card Ladder, the best sports card app on the market. The future of sports cards is here. Card Ladder is the 21st century price guide and market analysis tool for sports cards. The best tools to help you track your cards. Watch the trends, stay informed, compare cards, and track the growth of your personal collection, all in one simple and intuitive platform. Join the innovators, not the imitators. The future is here. The future is now. Card Ladder.